Chapter 882. At this moment, in the square in front of the equipment refining Sect's main hall, there was a hubbub of voices, but the surrounding environment was dilapidated, and most of the people around had bloody holes in their bodies. Everyone looked at the three women standing in the middle of the square with a dignified look on their faces. These three women were the culprits of the current situation, but fortunately, when the equipment refining Sect was being humiliated, an accident happened. And this accident was none other than the sudden appearance of the saint, who had suppressed the three women. At this moment, in mid-air, more than a dozen people stood proudly, looking down at the people below with contempt. Their eyes were full of disdain, as if they were not looking at people at this moment, but ants. The young man in the lead had a jade-like face, sword-like eyebrows, and starry eyes. He was tall and straight, and his body was full of righteousness. However, his expression did not match his righteousness at all. The young man looked at the three women in the middle of the square below, and the corners of his mouth curled up into an evil smile. He said in a magnetic voice, "Why are the three of you so angry? Can't you just sit down and talk? Do you have to make the equipment refining Sect lose face like this?" Although his words were articulate and full of confidence, anyone who was observant would be able to see the lust in the young man's eyes, and it was clear what he was thinking. A woman in a black robe sneered, and her face was full of sarcasm. She looked at the sky with an unyielding and disdainful look. "You talk so much about justice. Let me ask you, we have nothing to do with the equipment refining Sect," and, suddenly, a murderous aura rushed out and she continued to growl. "Who are you in the equipment refining Sect? What right do you have to pretend to be a big wolf? What do the things here have to do with you? You talk so much about righteousness and morality. Dare I ask, are you a clown invited by monkeys?" As soon as the black-clothed woman's voice fell, the young man's follower couldn't help but burst into laughter. However, as soon as he laughed, he felt that it was inappropriate and quickly suppressed it. He looked at the young man with an apologetic gaze. In response, the young man glared at him, and then turned his head with a gloomy face. At this moment, the righteous aura could be felt from his body, and his anger was combined with his murderous aura. He was like a villain. "Hey, you're good. You've successfully piqued my interest." As he spoke, he glanced at the middle-aged man beside him. The middle-aged man understood what he meant and nodded. Then, he disappeared in a flash. Seeing the middle-aged man suddenly disappear, the three women instantly became alert and looked around. Not bad, you hid well, but come out." At this moment, the woman in black stared ahead with a cold smile on her face. Then, a sword shadow flew out of her hand and charged forward. The instant the sword shadow left his hand, it began to rapidly expand. It was originally 3 inches long, but now it was 3 feet long. "Break!" a voice rang out. This voice was extremely ethereal and filled with the sound of the great Tao. The instant this voice rang out, the 10-meter-long sword shadow that had been moving as fast as lightning came to an abrupt halt. It stopped in the air, and in the next moment a crack appeared, bit by bit. As the crack slowly spread, it finally collapsed completely. Pooh! The moment the sword shadow collapsed, the woman in black spat out a mouthful of blood. Her body trembled and she took a step back. Her face was pale and her internal organs were in turmoil. Waves of pain came from her internal palace. She vaguely felt that her Dan palace was also affected. She raised her head and looked with a terrified expression. I didn't expect this. Is this the strength of a sage? Cultivating the great Tao and comprehending the laws. Although it is possible in the divine realm, but I'm not a sage. Could it be that I'm going to fall here today? As she thought about it, 2 streams of tears flowed out of her eyes. She closed her eyes and a figure appeared in her mind. Husband Inger. Inger can't accompany you anymore. I only hope that you won't end up like Sister Ling when she left. I only hope that you can be safe. That's all that matters. This woman was none other than Ying, who had asked Lin Ray for help. As for the other two women, they were naturally Bing and Lin Yuro. She suddenly came back to her senses, and turned to look at Bing and Little Four. A smile appeared on her face as she said, "Bing, this time, I'll have to trouble you to take care of my husband." "What? Sister Ying, are you? What are you doing?" Hearing this, Bing's heart trembled. A bad premonition surged in his heart. Even Xiao Si who was standing to the side, was shocked. He looked at his master's wife with doubt and worry. Sigh. She sighed and looked sad. "There's no other way. A sage is a sage after all. He's not someone a divine realm expert can resist. Moreover, I'll die to save the two of you. This is a good deal." As she said that, a determined look appeared on her face. Her tone was firm as she said, "Moreover, as Little Four's mistress, if I can't protect him, how can I be worthy of being his mistress?" As she said that, she smiled freely and said to Bing, "In a moment, I'll launch an attack. You send Little Four away from here as quickly as possible. Let SSSSS go find my husband. Remember, take good care of my husband." After saying that, Ying turned around and looked at the middle-aged man in front of her. Her expression was cold. Without waiting for Bing to react, she stomped her foot and shot forward like an arrow on a bow. Whoosh! With a piercing sound, Ying turned into a stream of light and arrived in front of the middle-aged man in an instant. She casually waved her quasi-saint artifact longsword and stabbed toward the middle-aged man's heart. Feeling a sense of threat, the middle-aged man stared blankly at the longsword that was about to pierce his heart. Then, he sneered. I didn't expect to meet someone as talented as you in this small divine realm. If it weren't for the young master, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to resist taking you as my disciple. But it can't be helped." As he spoke, the middle-aged man sighed regretfully. Then, he waved his hand and a wisp of agility appeared. The 3 feet of cold light that was about to pierce through the middle-aged man's heart suddenly changed direction when it was about to reach his chest. It could be said that the longsword deviated from its original trajectory. What? Looking at the longsword that had gone out of control, Ying was shocked. He knew that something bad was going to happen. A sense of death welled up in his heart. In the distance, Bing, who had been watching the battle, couldn't help but cover her mouth when she saw this scene. 2 streams of tears flowed out of her eyes. At this moment, she didn't rush forward. Instead, she grabbed Little Four and activated her cultivation. She was ready to leave at any time. Bing wasn't afraid of death. But she didn't want anything to happen to Little Four. Die. Looking at Ying, who had closed his eyes and was about to die, the middle-aged man trembled. However, it only lasted for a moment. After he recovered, a sinister look appeared on his face. He aimed his fist at Ying's heart and sped up. Little by little, the feeling of death was getting closer and closer. Even at this moment, Ying could feel that the god of death was beckoning him. How dare you! Waiting for death was a very painful thing. However, just as Ying was waiting for death to come, a hysterical voice came from the side. The voice was so loud that everyone couldn't help but cover their ears. They all turned to look at the source of the voice. At this moment, Ying, who had been waiting for death with his eyes closed, trembled when he heard the voice. A figure appeared in his mind. That figure was an existence that could make her feel at ease. That figure was an existence that could make her feel happy. That figure was none other than her husband, Lin Ray. He came from Heavenly Cloud City using the directional teleportation array. Lin Ray. This is what this saint wants to do. It's not up to an ant like you to interfere. Hearing the angry roar, the middle-aged man felt that his dignity was being challenged. Then, he sped up his fist and aimed it at Ying's heart. How dare you, bastard! At this moment, Lin Ray, who had rushed over from Heavenly Cloud City, was relieved when he saw that Ying and the other 2 were still alive. However, when he saw Ying's situation, the stone in his heart was lifted again. Bastard, bring me the spear. Seeing that the middle-aged man was moving faster, Lin Ray didn't care about anything else. He released his cultivation base and murderous aura. Devouring Heaven's End was released instantly. A set of quasi-saint level instruments and a quasi-saint level physical body were activated instantly. The Chaos Dragon Spear appeared in an instant. The moment Lin Ray grabbed it in his hand, the wind and clouds in the world changed. The clouds surged and dark clouds came from all directions. Yun, dark clouds were pressing down on the city. This scene was very appropriate. It could even be said that it was terrifying. Boom, heaven and earth dimmed. However, at this moment, Lin Ray, who was furious because of his lover, rushed out with a wisp of blood-red flame. It formed an energy garment that wrapped around Lin Ray. Whoosh, with the sound of something breaking through the air, Lin Ray activated all his abilities. At this moment, Lin Ray didn't hold back at all. Of course, he didn't use the Supreme Hongming body. However, Lin Ray didn't know how to use it. Otherwise, with all his energy activated in an instant, to be precise, it didn't even take an instant. Lin Ray, who was thousands of meters away, disappeared in an instant. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Ing. Then, he swung his fist and punched at the middle-aged man's fist. Boom, bang! Fist against fist. At this moment, both of them didn't use their instruments. When they punched, a terrifying energy wave appeared instantly. With Lin Ray and the other two as the center, it rushed out in all directions. Not only that, even the young man in the air and his followers were shocked by the energy wave and took 2 steps back. Thump, thump, thump! Suddenly, a figure fell backward and couldn't stop at all. How is this possible? The young man in the air saw that the people who fell back were all his followers. Suddenly, the disdain on his face disappeared. Instead, he became serious. He was shocked by the strength of the person who suddenly appeared. At the same time, he was even more curious. How could there be someone in the divine realm who could have such an opportunity? Silly girl, without my permission, who dares to take you away from me? Without my permission, who allowed you to take me away? At this moment, the middle-aged man who didn't have the chance to attack turned around and scolded Ing, who was stunned. At this moment, Ing, who was in a daze, looked at Lin Ray in front of her. She felt like she was in a dream. She didn't think that this person would really appear when she was in the most dangerous situation. Looking at this familiar and comforting figure, my heart couldn't help but tremble. I couldn't help but cry. At this moment, Ing didn't care about Lin Ray's scolding. She ran to Lin Ray and hugged Lin Ray like a little woman who was wronged. She buried her head in her husband's chest and cried out loud. Sigh. It's been hard on you. Feeling his wife who was trembling in his arms, a wave of guilt arose. If this was the case here, then what about other places? Thinking about this, Linley began to grow increasingly frantic. Now isn't the time to cry. Ask for help from everywhere. Right now, I don't have much time. Take me to deal with these people, then head to the next sect. Saying that, he gently pushed Ing away and said seriously, remember, don't have the thought of self-destructing in the future. Otherwise. Saying that, he raised his hand and scratched Ying's nose. Then, he said softly, go, protect Bing and Little Four. Leave the rest to me. Saying that, he didn't say anything else. He turned around and took a step forward. His aura didn't decrease but instead increased. He came to the middle-aged man who was pushed back 1,000 meters. At this moment, the middle-aged man still hadn't recovered from the fact that he was pushed back. His face was extremely ugly. I swore that I would kill anyone who hurt my wife. No matter who you are, even if you are a saint, you will die. So, die. Saying that, he raised his hand and held the Chaos Dragon Spear tightly. A terrifying spiritual energy mixed with the illusory spirit blood fire was transferred to the Chaos Void Spear. Martial God's first style, space strangulation. Facing a saint, Lin Ray didn't dare to be careless. Although he had killed a saint in the late stage of the ancient corpse trove, but, even so, Lin Ray was still very careful. How is this possible? How can an ant from the realm of the gods have such powerful energy? Feeling the sudden danger, the middle-aged man came back to his senses. He looked at Lin Ray's battle technique in shock. His face was full of disbelief, and he didn't want to believe it. Hey, you haven't seen it before, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The way I see it, you aren't even an ant. When you had the intention to kill my wife, you were already a dead man. Martial God strategy, activate. What? Oh no. Sensing that the space around him was about to overlap, the middle-aged man's face turned gloomy. Without even thinking, he raised his hand, and a 3-foot-long blade of cold light appeared in his hand. Activating his own battle technique, he charged towards Linley. Ant, how dare a grain of rice compete with the sun and moon? Die. Lin Ray didn't care about the middle-aged man's attack. At this moment, he only had one goal, and that was to kill the man in front of him. After Lin Ray increased the amount of spiritual energy transferred, the martial god strategy, which was slowly overlapping the space, suddenly became energetic as if it had taken an aphrodisiac. With the middle-aged man as the center, the overlapping space increased by 6 to 7 times. Stunned. Chapter 883. Bastard. Block it for me. Feeling the sense of death that he had felt for a long time, he knew that he could no longer treat the person he was facing as a true supreme god. Not a supreme god, but a saint. The middle-aged man had already regarded Lin Ray, who was rushing towards him, as a saint. Furthermore, Lin Ray was a saint whose strength far surpassed his own. He knew that he was no match for Lin Ray. Although he knew that he was no match for Chu Feng, he could not allow himself to be trampled upon by others. He would not allow that. His dignity would not allow that. His face as a saint would not allow that. Although he knew that he was no match for Chu Feng, he had no choice but to use all of his strength in order to survive. He did not want to kill Chu Feng. He only wanted to survive. Humph. Do you think you can block me? Seeing the middle-aged man's defensive posture, Lin Ray revealed a disdainful expression. Lin Ray had already regarded the middle-aged man as a dead man. Break for me. Gotcha. Gotcha. Suddenly, Lin Ray's figure arrived. His long spear was aimed straight at the middle-aged man's heart. However, the long spear that was about to pierce through the middle-aged man's heart stopped when it was 3 feet away from the young man's heart. What followed was the sound of glass shattering. Gotcha. The sound of glass shattering became more and more intense. In the end, a loud bang resounded throughout the entire equipment refining sect. The middle-aged man, who was originally standing still, was sent flying backwards. What was different was that the middle-aged man was not injured before. However, it was different now. There was an obvious bloody hole in his chest where his heart was. Scarlet blood was flowing out from the bloody hole. His blood was flowing non-stop. His complexion was deathly pale. If it were not for the fact that the middle-aged man was still alive and moving, people who saw him would probably think that he was a dead man. Cough, cough, pfff, he fell to the ground. His expression was hideous and filled with pain. He gritted his teeth and endured the pain to support his body. When he lowered his head and saw the bloody hole in his chest, the middle-aged man's expression changed dramatically. Then, with a thought, a bottle of medicinal pellets appeared in his hand. Should I say something about you? Or should I say that you're stupid? You don't really think that I'll just watch you eat the pill and wait for you to recover before asking me for help, do you? When Linley's voice entered the middle-aged man's ears, his body trembled. His hand trembled, and the pill bottle in his hand fell to the ground. He stared blankly at Linley, his mouth slightly open, his voice trembling. Fellow Taoist, I am a cultivator from the Huang family in hell. I came here because I had no other choice, and attacking your Taoist companion is also my fault. I apologize to you here, As long as you let me go today, when I return to the clan, I will definitely report to the Patriarch and repay your kindness of not killing me with generous rewards. How about it? As he said that, a hint of pride appeared on the middle-aged man's face. However, he had forgotten that this was not the saint's world, and Lin Rei had no idea where the Huang family was from. At this moment, he only knew that this person wanted to kill his wife before the new year. Lin Rei had nothing to say to this kind of person. The only thing he could do to get rid of the hatred in his heart was to repay this kind of person. Kill, that's right, kill. As long as he killed the middle-aged man, the hatred in his heart would lessen a lot, and the hatred in his wife's heart would also lessen a lot. So, looking at him and the middle-aged man, Lin Rei's eyes were filled with interest. It was as if he was watching a fool perform alone. Heh! Huang family, hell, tsk. Yes, Huang family. As long as you let me go, I guarantee that you will get a generous reward from the Huang family. Bullshit! When the middle-aged man heard Linley mention the two words Huang clan, he thought he had some hope. But who would have thought that in the next moment, Linley's words would stun him? Bullshit, Huang family. As he said that, Lin Rei took a step forward and arrived in front of the middle-aged man. He squatted down and reached out to grab the middle-aged man's hair. His expression was cold as he sneered, "The Huang family you speak of is useless to me. Don't talk about the Huang family. You have to remember that this is the saint's world. The Huang family you speak of is in the saint's world. So, if I kill you and everyone here, no one will know." At this moment, Lin Rei said it very casually. It was as if killing people was nothing to him. However, the others were not. Especially the young man who was standing in the air and looking down. The moment he heard what Huang Xiaolong said, a murderous aura instantly shot up. At this moment, the young man suddenly took a step back. His face was filled with shock and fear. Yes, suddenly, an existence who claimed to be a saint was scared at this moment. He was not the only one. Even the others who were brought by him had an extremely ugly expression when they heard what Huang Xiaolong said. However, although they were not convinced, they knew very well that the person Lin Rei was grabbing was not just anyone. It was a very famous cultivator in the earth domain, Huang Zhongren. He was a famous veteran Dao fruit saint. Moreover, his strength was at the peak of the Dao fruit saint realm. He could break through to the next realm at any time. But now, he was defeated in the divine world. Moreover, he was defeated by an ant who was only a mid-ultimate god. Although they really wanted to go up and punish the ant in their hearts, in the face of Lin Rei's powerful strength, they could only choose to remain silent in the end. They did not dare to say anything even though they were angry. I know. Huang Zhongren was really afraid of Lin Rei. He did not expect that it would be useless even if he brought up his family. I've wasted too much time on you. So, die. After saying that, he did not give Huang Zhongren any chance to react and instantly used the illusory spirit blood fire. Boom. A part of the illusory spirit blood fire separated from the surface of Lin Rei's body and transferred to Huang Zhongren. In an instant, a scream resounded throughout the entire equipment refining sect. When everyone heard it, their hearts could not help but tremble. Some of the more timid ones felt Lin Rei's murderous aura. Their legs went weak and they directly knelt on the ground. They lowered their heads and did not dare to look directly at him. Puff, puff, puff. The moment the illusory spirit blood fire touched Huang Zhongren, it pounced on him and wrapped him up like a mother who had found her son who had been lost for many years. The illusory spirit blood fire was one of Lin Rei's ultimate moves. It was the nemesis of souls. Moreover, it was very hot. The moment it touched Huang Zhongren, it was like a maggot attached to the bone. No matter how hard Huang Zhongren tried, he could not get rid of the burning pain of the illusory spirit blood fire. At this moment, the young man standing in the air could not help but stand up and order Lin Rei when he saw his subordinate being tortured like this. Yes, it was an order. How dare you, thief? How dare you touch my people? Do you really think I don't exist? Hearing this, Lin Rei looked up. The moment his eyes fell on the young man, Lin Rei was stunned. Then, a cold smile appeared on his face. Heh, idiot. If you don't want to die so quickly, be quiet for a while. Otherwise, let's do it here. You! The young man's face turned red. It was not because he was shy, but because he was sullen. He felt that his face and dignity were being despised. One should know that as a true disciple of the mystic moon sect, he had an extremely high status in the holy world. Wherever he went, he would be worshipped and flattered. But now, he was being threatened and looked down on by an existence that was like an ant in his eyes. Moreover, his body had failed to live up to his expectations and had even taken a step back. At this moment, his heart was blinded. At this moment, Lin Rei did not have the chance to deal with the person in the air. He turned around and looked at his two wives and disciple in the distance. A smile appeared on his face as he walked towards them. At this moment, the scene was silent. Lu Yuan brought his daughter and Gu Tongfeng to Lin Rei's side. But unlike before, their eyes were filled with respect, incomparable respect. Lin Rei only smiled and did not say anything. He nodded at the three of them and continued to walk towards his wife. However, there would always be a group of people in the world who would not die if they did not seek death. Just like now. Bastard men, tie him up. I want to let him know that I, Mu Bai, am not someone a mere ultimate god cultivator can look down on and disrespect. At this moment, Mu Bai's face was ferocious. When the people behind him heard the order, their faces changed. The image of Huang Zhong being hung up and beaten up appeared in their minds. They laughed bitterly in their hearts. To be honest, they wanted to curry favor with Mu Bai. But they were not fools. In order to gain status, their lives were very important. If they lost their lives, what was the point of having status? But what made them helpless was that Mu Bai was a direct disciple of the mystic moon sect. No matter how afraid they were of Lin Rei, when they thought of the ruthless methods of the mystic moon sect, if something happened to Mu Bai here, would they still be able to live? Go. Are you not going to listen to this saint's orders? Sensing that the people behind him had not made any move, Mu Bai turned around. His face was ferocious and terrifying as he gritted his teeth and said, I will wait. I will wait for your orders. In the end, the people could not overcome the fear of the mystic moon sect behind Mu Bai and could only choose to compromise. A few people walked out and looked at each other. They nodded heavily as if they had made an important decision. Sigh. If we knew that we would encounter such a situation, why would we get involved in this mess? That's right. Forget it. Mu Bai is watching. Let's hurry up and make a move. Otherwise, our sect will. Since you have chosen to make a move, why hesitate? Lin Rei, who was stopped by Mu Bai, saw that the saints had stepped out but did not make a move. For Lin Rei, who was in a hurry to leave, how could he waste time? The other party did not make a move, but Lin Rei made a move. His figure flashed and disappeared. However, when the saints heard Lin Rei's words, they were stunned. When they turned around, they saw that Lin Rei had disappeared. We don't dare. Hurry up, you are only in the early stage of Tao fruit and you dare to have evil intentions towards my wife. Should I say that you are bold, or should I say that you are blind? At this time, Lin Rei's voice sounded from behind a young man. His voice was filled with coldness. At this moment, the young man felt that he had fallen into the hands of the Grim Reaper. His body stiffened and cold sweat broke out. Go to hell. Lin Rei stretched out his hand and patted the young man's body. His hand did not have the slightest bit of spiritual energy, but the moment his hand touched the young man's body, a flame separated from the illusory spirit blood fire. The moment Lin Rei released it, it instantly invaded the young man's body like a maggot attached to a bone. Lin Rei did not pay attention to him. It was not that Lin Rei was arrogant, but he was very confident in the power of the illusory spirit blood fire. However, although he had taken care of 2 of them, Lin Rei could no longer think like before. After all, he was up against saints, and there were 6 or 7 of them in front of him. As the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. If you walk by the river often, your shoes will get wet. Seeing the fear in the remaining people's eyes, Lin Rei was delighted. The chaotic void spear appeared and 9 azure dragons were instantly released. The 9 azure dragons had the strength of a saint. Sigh. Forget it, let's do it again before I break through. After all, these are all money. At this moment, in Lin Rei's eyes, the group of saints in front of him were no longer human, but exchange points and reputation points. They were the source of his debt. What? 999 azure dragons? Mu Bai's brows were tightly furrowed, his face filled with shock and indescribable shock. In this place, he had already felt too many pleasant surprises that he had never imagined. And no, it was not pleasant surprises, it was shock. The moment the 9 azure dragons appeared, Mu Bai felt an aura from them that was comparable to his. From the aura, he could tell that they were all saints. Panic. At this moment, Mu Bai was panicking. Thinking of Lin Rei's means and the 9 azure dragons at this moment, the people he brought were not enough to resist at all. At this moment, Lin Rei asked the system in his mind, "System, if I kill all of them, there shouldn't be any bad effects, right?" Ding. No, not only that, but you will also receive a lot of exchange points and reputation points. These few days. With the system's confirmation, Lin Rei relaxed. He then raised his head and said to the azure dragons, "Go, kill. Don't let a single one of them go." Roar. One draconic roar after another rang out from the mouths of the 9 azure dragons. Right now, it was as though the 9 azure dragons had been injected with adrenaline. After receiving Linley's permission, they instantly disappeared from where they were, charging towards Mu Bai and the others. Xiao Xiao did not have the chance to laugh at Mu Bai's side. Looking at the saints in front of him, Lin Rei smiled and rushed forward with the chaotic void spear in his hand. Silent thunder spear art, martial god stratagem, butterfly steps, star finger. At this moment, Lin Rei used all of his battle techniques, footwork, magic, everything he knew. He did not want to waste any more time because there were still 3 places waiting for him. However, at this moment, within the Rain Sect, a young man holding a folding fan, wearing a golden robe, with sharp eyebrows and bright eyes, and a pig following beside him, slowly walked to the side of a woman. Looking at the woman who was covered in wounds, the young man frowned and his face was filled with killing intent. "Little you are they the ones who injured you to this extent?" The young man's words were filled with killing intent. The young man was angry. Chapter 884. It's them. They asked us to kneel and repent the moment they came. Uncle Bai and Uncle Dian Wei fought them to protect me, but, as she spoke, she felt wronged. She could not speak and her tears fell. Her appearance as a goddess of war had completely disappeared. They are too strong. Uncle Bai and Uncle Dian were suppressed before they even reached those people. They could not fight back at all. With tears in his eyes and Lin Wanyu's peerless appearance, the Pai Xiu's heart melted. Then, the desire in his heart grew stronger. Originally, he and the 8 treasures were in a treasure land. There were countless spiritual herbs there, and there were even a few divine crystal veins. He was still shouting that he had made a fortune when he received a letter from Lin Rei, saying that Lin Wanyu was suppressed and the other party was a saint. Looking at the treasures in front of him, the Pai Xiu, who was very tempted, did not want to pay attention to it. However, when he thought of Lin Ray looking at the treasures in front of him, he made a difficult choice. After a battle in his heart, he had no choice but to agree in the end. The 8 treasures did not want to leave at all, but because of the Pai Xiu's strength, they could only choose to compromise. It was also because of this that the current scene happened. The Pai Xiu used his special skill, the power of space, to arrive in one day. He must have paid a great price. He was already angry. Now, seeing Lin Wanyu like this, the Pai Xiu, who was even angrier, transferred all his anger to the group of saints who suddenly appeared. When he appeared, his eyes were filled with endless killing intent. He narrowed his eyes, and his gaze was like that of a beast. "Are you courting death? Don't you know that I am looking after Xiao Yu?" Whoosh! After saying that, his figure flashed and disappeared instantly. He disappeared silently. Everyone present was stunned and then became vigilant. Unforgivable. You don't want to stay in the holy world and have to come down to the lower world to cause trouble. You are courting death. Do you know that? At this moment, the space behind a young man twisted. A figure appeared and looked at him coldly. A murderous aura flashed. Dodge. He is behind you. Quick. At this moment, the young man's companions saw the Pai Xiu appear. Their expressions changed, and they shouted to remind him. However, at the moment when someone reminded him, Pai Xiu stretched out his hand and grabbed the young man's neck. A strange red light flashed into the young man's body. How is this possible? At this moment, the young man who was lifted up by the Pai Xiu felt something in his body. The previous vigorous energy was still circulating in his body, filling his body and the Blood Sea Prefecture, but in the next moment, the Blood Sea Prefecture that had been filled with life instantly became lifeless. What was even stranger was that a beast that was only the size of a human's head appeared. It hovered in the air, its eyes cold and emotionless. The beast was shaped like a dragon's head, a horse's body, and unicorn's feet. It was shaped like a lion, and its fur was grayish-white. When the young man saw the beast's form clearly, he was stunned. Staring blankly at the thing that appeared in his Blood Sea Prefecture, the young man was stupefied and confused, not knowing what was going on. 10,000 curses ran through his heart. He didn't know why, but he was scared and wanted to escape. Pai Xiu. Finally, the young man spoke. His heart was filled with terror. This was probably the most unforgettable moment in his life. Facing the young man's terror, the Pai Xiu laughed disdainfully and said, "Since you dared to come to the lower realm and offend my Xiao Yu, you should have been prepared beforehand. Are you ready?" Subconsciously, the young man wanted to speak, but he didn't know what to say, nor did he know what to say. He only knew that the existence in front of him was an existence that had already gone extinct in the saint's world. He was scared, and wanted to retreat even more. "Forget it, since you're already here, then, die." As he said that, a gentle smile appeared on his face. However, to the young man, this smile was like the god of death inviting him to lock his soul. Crack! A crisp and pleasant sound of bones breaking rang out in everyone's ears. At this moment, everyone's eyes widened, as if they had seen something bizarre. They couldn't believe it. How could this be? How could they be this busy? Why would they? At this moment, a young man wearing luxurious clothes and a jade-like complexion saw his subordinates being killed in an instant. How should he describe it? It was clean, neat, and clean. He died without any hesitation. One had to know that the person who died was a saint, a mid-stage saint. He died just like that in a low-level realm like the divine world. This made him feel awkward and worried. Bang! Without saying a word, the Pai Xiu looked at the young man's soul in his hand and smiled disdainfully. With a wave of his hand, the corpse was flung far away until it disappeared from sight. Phew, it's been a long time since I killed a saint. This feeling, tsk, not bad. With a smile, one could tell that he wasn't lying. However, this sentence was like a ticking time bomb in the ears of the saint. It was shocking. What the f***ck? Not killing a saint in one go? Is this something that should happen in a low-level realm? Obviously, they hadn't seen it before. Moreover, to kill a genuine saint so easily without leaving any traces behind, you are from the saint's world? At this moment, while everyone was still in shock, the Pisho turned around and looked at the crowd. In the end, it landed on the young man in luxurious clothes. A flash of light flashed across its eyes. "We are Tion." Subconsciously, the young man in luxurious clothes wanted to say where he came from. However, as soon as he opened his mouth, he immediately came back to his senses. F***ck, why do I have to answer? As he thought about it, a surge of energy instantly filled the young man's body. His face instantly turned gloomy. Looking at the Pisho's eyes, he said indifferently, "You! Who are you to that woman? Do you know who we are? How dare you stop us? Do you know how stupid you are for doing what you did today?" Heh! Idiot! The Pisho didn't take the young man's words to heart at all. First, he was invited by Lin Ray. Even if he really killed someone, the final karma would fall on Lin Ray. Moreover, he was already very angry with the people of the saint's world. Therefore, of course, Lin Ray didn't know about the Pisho's thought. Otherwise, Lin Ray would have told him about it. "What did you say?" The young man's face turned red when he heard the Pisho insulting him. He felt humiliated that the Pisho dared to say that he wanted to kill someone. "Didn't you hear me? Well, I'll say it again. Listen carefully. I said, idiot. Did you hear me?" The Pisho looked at the young man with interest and said, "Bastard, you dare to humiliate my heavenly court's star sovereign. You want to die?" His sudden words caused everyone's eyes to turn away from him. However, the person who spoke at this moment didn't realize that the moment he said the two words, heavenly court, the smiling Pisho's face instantly turned gloomy. A murderous aura vaguely rushed out of his body. Heavenly court, ha, ha, ha ha ha. The sudden laughter stunned everyone. They didn't know why the Pisho was like this. However, there was one thing that they could feel. It was none other than the murderous aura that filled the surroundings. It was endless and made everyone's divine soul tremble. How, the young man in luxurious clothes seemed to have a premonition when this scene appeared. He looked at the person who spoke with anger. What did you say?" Boom! A terrifying pressure instantly appeared and suppressed everyone in the field, except for Lin Wanyu and the other two and the 8 treasures. "Ha ha ha, heavenly court, how Tion. I didn't expect you to suppress me back then. Now your disciples and grand disciples are in my hands. Don't worry, this is just the beginning. Wait for me, step by step. The Lingshao main hall will only make you fear, and let you know. Who are you? How did you?" Hearing the person in front of them say the Lingshao main hall, at this moment, no one would think that the person in front of them was a nobody. The young man in luxurious clothes was even more shocked. Hao Tian was the master of the heavenly court. The Lingshao main hall was where Hao Tian was in charge. Now, it was said by the person in front of him, moreover, suppressed. What did that mean? Could it be that the person in front of him was suppressed by Hao Tian before? Thinking of this, the young man in luxurious clothes wanted to retreat. He didn't want to and didn't dare to stay here any longer. He was afraid. Who am I? No one has asked me this question for a long time. Who am I? I am Lin Ray's friend. I am the Pisho of the holy world. I am one of the first creatures in the world. I am the first person of the Pisho clan, ancestor Pisho, Pisho said with melancholy. However, his words made the young man in luxurious clothes dumbfounded. Pisho. The moment he heard this, he already knew that Pisho was the Pisho that had been suppressed by Hao Tian. Thinking of this, the young man in luxurious clothes took a step back with fear on his face. After everything returned to normal, he subconsciously wanted to leave. "Ha, do you think you can still leave? I will kill every one of Hao Tian's disciples and grand disciples that I see. As long as they are disciples of the heavenly court, I will kill all of them." After saying the word kill 3 times in a row, the situation suddenly became more and more interesting. The young man in luxurious clothes had completely lost his will to fight at this moment. He only wanted to leave. "Ha, I didn't expect this. I didn't expect the sword sex saint to be from the heavenly court." Just when the situation was extremely extreme and was about to explode, suddenly, a calm voice was heard. Lin Ray. Turning around, when Pichio looked over, he was stunned and said with a strange expression, Why are you here? Didn't you ask me to come back as soon as possible? You bastard, do you know that for you, I didn't even eat the heavenly treasures in front of me. Damn you. Linley's appearance was out of everyone's expectations, especially the Pichio. He was clear about Lin Ray's strength. None of the people in front of him was a match for Lin Ray. But now that he had appeared, wasn't he superfluous? Thinking of this, he thought of the heavenly treasures that he didn't eat before. For him, his heavenly treasures were still far away. Thinking of Pichio, he couldn't help but have the impulse to go forward and give Lin Ray a big fight. Pichio's appearance at this moment had already subverted his impression in everyone's hearts. The previous tall appearance was completely gone at this moment, only a funny appearance was left. That, looking at Pichio's appearance, Lin Ray knew that he seemed to have disturbed his good fortune. In this regard, Lin Ray smiled awkwardly, and then quickly opened his mouth to change the topic. Aren't there heavenly courts soldiers over there? Quickly kill them and then go to the next place. There are still 2 places without support. I don't know how they are at the moment. Thinking of this, his heart was heavy. Please don't let anything happen to them, or husband, it's okay. Don't worry, they are fine. At this time, Ying's hand reached out from behind and grabbed Lin Ray, comforting him. Yes, husband, you see, isn't Xiao Yu okay? Bing stepped forward and echoed, and then pointed to Lin Wanyu. Although they only received a little, after experiencing this incident, I think they will work harder in the future, and will not relax on their own cultivation. Tsk, this is. Thinking about it, it was actually true. Forget it, let's underestimate Xiao Yu's injuries. Saying that, Lin Ray turned and walked towards Lin Wanyu. I'll let you go first. Wait until I kill these ants. Understanding Lin Ray's heavy heart, Pichio did not continue to fool around. Instead, he turned to look at the group of people, and a cruel smile appeared on his face. He moved. His figure turned into a stream of light, and instantly disappeared from the scene. At this moment, 1,000 years in luxurious clothes panicked. Quick, he's here. He has survived since the desolate era, but I never thought that he would be here today. Everyone, quickly work together. Even if we can't kill Pichio, we can at least escape. Yes, young Master Xing Yu is right. Let's go together. We must escape from here. Agreed, we must leave here. If we die here, how will we face when we return to the holy world? Face. I'm afraid you won't be able to return. At this moment, Pichio's figure appeared behind him, and a beast claw with shocking pressure and cultivation ruthlessly slammed down. Bang, a loud bang was heard, and one person was directly gone. It could not be said that he was gone, but he was slammed into the ground before he could resist. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. Let's continue. Let me see how strong vast heaven's disciples are, and estimate the heavenly court's strength in an instant. This way, when we return to the holy world, we won't have to be restrained. Chapter 885. The prelude to the slaughter had been pulled open. A one-sided massacre had unfolded before everyone's eyes. Aside from Linley's side, the entire Rain sect had already fallen into a daze. Watching this one-sided massacre unfold before their eyes, they retreated in terror. Lin Rei, Pai Xiao, Ying, and the others' figures had been completely imprinted in the hearts of the Rain sect's members. They would probably never be able to erase the fear they had for Lin Rei. Heh. Looks like our Rain sect won't be able to be called one of the 7 sects anymore. Any one of these people could sweep through the 7 sects, but who are they? Why haven't I heard of them before? On the side, a young man heard his master's words and continued. Yeah, these people. They're too terrifying. They've already surpassed this world. But why are they here? Could it be that they're here to make fun of us? The Rain sect's members couldn't figure it out no matter how they thought about it. They shook their heads and tried their best to stay awake and not think about it. Linley and the others didn't know what was happening. By now, Linley had already arrived by Lin Wanyu's side. Looking at the bloody scars on her body, he was suddenly filled with the desire to kill. Master, it's fine. It's just a small injury. Also, as your disciple, if I can't even endure this little bit of pain, then I'm not worthy of being your disciple. Feeling Pang Bo's intent, Lin Wanyu's heart shook. She quickly comforted him. I understand. Now that she had said this, Linley naturally knew what she meant. And then, his will faded a bit. However, although you didn't want to pursue this matter, they've injured my disciple. If I don't teach them a painful lesson, then everyone will shit on my disciple's head in the future. How can that be? After saying that, he looked at the Rain sect's members who were standing in the distance. A cold aura spread out from his body. Whoosh, a black shadow instantly rushed out. The old man sensed this and wanted to resist. However, when he tried to resist, he felt a pain in his left shoulder. It was as if something was missing. Humph, feeling the pain, the old man subconsciously turned his head to look. However, when his gaze fell on his left shoulder, his eyes widened, and an extremely shocked expression appeared spontaneously on his face. A miserable shriek rang out. Aside from the members of the Rain sect who stepped forward to threaten him, none of the saints paid any attention to him. It wasn't that they didn't want to, but rather, at this moment, the saints did not have the time to care about him because they were being slaughtered and had no power to fight back. Remember, this is the consequence of harming my, Lin Rei's, disciple. This is the first time, and I hope it will be the last. I don't want to see my disciple injured again, otherwise. His gaze swept across the surroundings, and a wisp of killing intent instantly erupted. His tone was sinister as he said, "The next time this sovereign comes, your Rain sect will disappear. There's no need for it to exist. It's better to just erase it and end it once and for all." Hiss! The moment those words were spoken, everyone from the Rain sect sucked in a breath of cold air. Their faces were filled with shock. They didn't think that Lin Rei's words would be so domineering. However, when they thought about his strength, thought about the strength of his disciple, and the people who came here, those people from the Rain sect who were originally filled with anger and indignation all backed off in fear. They didn't dare to say anything, let alone defend themselves. They didn't do it for him, but for themselves. Even their own sect's Grand Elder had an arm torn off in an instant. They were nothing compared to him. You've worked hard. Looking at the person who came back, it was none other than his wife, Ying. It's nothing. I just did it in passing. She smiled and didn't say anything else. She directly drove until Lin Rei stopped and stood there quietly. Seeing his wife like this, Lin Rei smiled and didn't say anything else. In his opinion, he and his wife had already reached the level where they could understand each other with just a glance. Turning around, with a thought, he took out 2 venerable level healing pills from his storage ring. He crushed one and applied it on Lin Wanyu's body. Then, he handed the other pill to her and said with concern, "Hurry up and eat it." After that, the wounds on your body and the injuries on your internal organs will all heal. Moreover, there won't be any scars left. And I understand, Master. Saying that, Lin Wanyu smiled and opened her mouth to swallow the pill. Then, she sat down cross-legged and began to recover. Looking at his disciple who was recovering, Lin Rei suddenly thought of the heaven-extinguishing rock fire from the auction street. He hesitated. Although the heaven-extinguishing rock fire wasn't as good as the illusory spirit blood fire, it was still born from heaven and earth. He was afraid. He was afraid that his disciple wouldn't be able to take it. Devouring a spiritual treasure born from heaven and earth was the first thing to ensure that one was clear-headed during the refining process. However, he was afraid that Xiao Yu wouldn't be able to take it during the refining process. If that happened, even he wouldn't be able to save her. The more he thought about it, the more worried he became. In the end, Lin Rei didn't think about it anymore. Forget it. I'll wait for a while. When Xiao Shui breaks through to the ultimate god realm, I'll let her become a talisman grandmaster. That way, I might be able to refine the heaven-extinguishing rock fire into a kind of realm. Thinking about it, Lin Rei made up his mind and immediately hid the matter of the heaven-extinguishing rock fire. He looked at the Pai Xiu who was in the midst of killing in the distance. He watched as the Pai Xiu dashed around at an extremely fast speed. The so-called young man who was called Xing Yu had brought fewer and fewer people with him. Originally, there were dozens of people, but now there were less than 20 people left. After the others were killed by the Pai Xiu, they were kept away with a ghostly technique. Xing Yu's eyes widened when he saw this scene. His face was ugly and he wanted to retreat. However, in the current situation, even if he wanted to retreat, it was probably out of his control. The Pai Xiu's speed was getting faster and faster. He couldn't even see how the Pai Xiu attacked. The people he brought with him were killed without leaving behind any bones. Master, you should leave quickly. This person is a lunatic. He's not human. You should leave quickly. When your father came, he ordered us to protect you. If something happens to you here, then, one of the people who came to Xing Yu's side said anxiously. What about that? If you have something to say, then say it. Why are you being so wishy-washy? Looking at the old man, Xing Yu said impatiently. Then, if something happens to you, my family and the sect I belong to will be annihilated. So, you should leave. We will cover you. Even if we die, as long as you're fine, it's the same as our family being fine. Hearing those words, Xing Yu felt a little uncomfortable. However, when he thought that he might really die here, he calmed down. At this moment, he was the calmest he had ever been in his life. Seeing that more and more people he brought with him were dying, he was startled and nodded. All right. Since that's the case, then. Go, hurry up. Master, hurry up, hurry up. That guy is increasing his speed. From this, it can be seen that he's gone crazy. Hurry up, hurry up. Just at this moment, the old man's body trembled. He turned around and looked. His face was filled with anxiety. What? Hurry up and leave. At this moment, the old man no longer cared about Xing Yu's noble status. The instant he shouted in a low voice, he reached out and grabbed Xing Yu. Ancient, blood shadow, flash wind, sweep shadow, blood escape technique, activate. You want to use your blood essence? Hearing the old man's muttering, Xing Yu's mind went blank. He knew this incantation very well. It was a low-level escape technique in the holy world. The blood escape technique was a technique that used a cultivator's foundation. It was a technique that used all of a cultivator's blood essence as the price. The reason why it was the lowest level escape technique in the holy world was not because it wasn't powerful. Instead, it was because it was too powerful. However, the price to use the blood escape technique was all of a cultivator's blood essence. After becoming a saint, who would want to use their future as the price to escape. Even if they managed to escape, they would not have the opportunity to do so in the future. They might even die on the spot. However, the old man had clearly made a big decision. Otherwise, he wouldn't use such a forbidden technique. Pfff. A mouthful of scarlet blood spurted out from the old man's mouth. His face instantly paled. A blood-red spiritual energy instantly enveloped the two of them. At this moment the old man smiled. He smiled very happily. "Young master, although you usually mess around, this old man wants to beg you before I die. When you have the chance to return to the holy world, you must take care of my clan and sect. Although they might be nothing in your eyes, but I promise you." Xing Yu cut in. "I promise you that, if I have the chance to return, I will definitely take care of your clan and sect. Although I can't make them a first-rate sect in the holy world, I can still protect them for eternity." Thank you." A relieved expression appeared in the old man's eyes. Following that, the blood escape technique was completely activated. At this moment, Xing Yu only felt his vision darken. His body went limp and he lost consciousness. Sigh. With a sigh, the old man looked back at the remaining 10 or so people. He resolutely turned back and took a step forward, instantly disappearing from the Rain Sect. This scene attracted the attention of Lin Rei, Pai Xiu, and the others. However, the blood escape technique was so heaven-defying that they didn't even have time to react before the old man and Xing Yu disappeared. F***ck. Looking at the empty place where Xing Yu was originally, Pai Xiu couldn't help but curse. His expression was extremely ugly. Forget it. If they ran away, then they ran away. At this moment, Linley understood what Pai Xiu was thinking. He took a step forward and went to Pai Xiu's side. He reached out and grabbed Pai Xiu's shoulder to stop him. "Don't forget that all 4 sects have saints now. If I'm not wrong, all the top sects in the 9th state and even the entire God realm should have saints." Hearing this, Pai Xiu, who originally wanted to look for the people who escaped, was stunned. He turned his head and looked at Lin Rei in confusion. Although I'm not sure, I can still guess. With so many people coming down, something or something has appeared in the holy world. It's these high and mighty saints who treat life like ants that didn't hesitate to come down. You, at the side, the person who was brought here by Xing Yu, heard Lin Rei's analysis. He was stunned and speechless. However, as soon as he opened his mouth, he realized that he had misspoken. He quickly shut his mouth and turned his head. It seems that I'm right. He smiled and turned to look at the person who had misspoken. With a smile, he said indifferently, "Tell me, why did you come down to the holy world with so many people? If I tell you, perhaps it will make you feel better. If not, boom." After saying that, a burst of illusory spirit blood fire appeared and was thrown to a middle-aged man who was lying on the ground moaning. Hysterical screams were heard. His voice was miserable and his face was ferocious. From this, one could imagine how much pain he was suffering. Pai Xiu wanted to refute on the spot. However, when he heard the scream of the middle-aged man, he swallowed the words that he wanted to blurt out. "Hurry up and tell me. Otherwise." Pai Xiu knew that Lin Rei's guess was right. However, the person in front of him knew the secret of why the saints came down. I don't know, he cried. It was unknown whether it was because of Lin Rei and Pai Xiu's suppression or because of the miserable scream of the middle-aged man next to him. Clear tears flowed out from his eyes. With snot and tears, he begged for mercy. "Please, I beg you. Don't force me. I really don't know." Seeing him like this, Lin Rei and Pai Xiu blushed with shame. A saint could be forced to such a state. They were speechless. However, to be able to see a saint shed tears was also a rare thing. Tears flowed down his cheeks and fell to the ground. On the ground that was originally barren, after coming into close contact with the saint's tear, a trace of green instantly appeared. Following that, a small tree appeared without warning. Furthermore, it slowly grew taller and taller. And the saint's tear is not bad. If you can use it to cultivate spiritual herbs, then. Looking at the small tree in front of him, Lin Rei was unable to extricate himself from his fantasy. You wish. With a look of disdain, he looked at Lin Rei. Although the saint's tear is rich with life energy, the majority of the spiritual herbs that it cultivates cannot be used. Is that so? For a moment, Lin Rei felt that it was a pity. I originally thought that you would be useful. However, since you are useless and unwilling to tell us the purpose of the realm of the gods, then go to hell. Pucci. A long spear that was engraved with 9 azure dragons appeared. It turned into a stream of light and directly pierced through the chest of the young man. 9 golden rays of light instantly appeared. In an instant, the young man's body exploded. Blood splattered everywhere. Sigh. I didn't want to use force, but you guys just had to be cheap. There's no other way. Don't blame me. Remember, the person above is a Paishio. Do you understand? Your uncle. What are you talking about? Seeing how shameless Lin Rei was, the Paishio was flustered and exasperated. Enough. Every day you are behaving like a child. Can't you see that this is a serious matter? After saying that, Lin Rei's face turned serious. The serious matter is more important. Do you understand? Chapter 886. F***ck bastard, you bastard. Seeing Lin Rei being so shameless, Paishio laughed and scolded. Then, it stopped talking and stood aside obediently. Hee. Seeing Paishio being so obedient, Lin Rei's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. He did not expect Paishio to be so obedient. However, he did not think about it and turned his head to look at the remaining people. With a smile on his face, just like before, he smiled at them like a spring breeze. However, this kind of smile, in the eyes of others, was the smile of death. And those who knew Lin Rei knew that as long as Lin Rei smiled and smiled happily, it meant that he was very angry. Moreover, there was a kind of implication. This smile was Lin Rei's signature to kill people. As long as Lin Rei showed this kind of smile, there would be an indescribable scene. Blood would flow like a river. You, what are you doing? At this time, when the people of Holy World saw Lin Rei's smile, their bodies inexplicably retreated. Their souls trembled and their legs trembled. It was as if they had received an extreme shock. Tell me, why did you come down here? Looking at them, Lin Rei walked towards them step by step. Don't be like that person just now. I don't like to torture people. Of course, if you don't know what's good for you, then I don't mind letting you experience the cruelest side of this world. I guarantee that you will become a ghost. Oh yes, I'm afraid you won't even have the chance to become a ghost and will disappear from this beautiful and passionate world. F***ck damn pervert. Hearing Lin Rei's words and that hateful smile, for a moment, Paishio was stunned and scolded in his heart. Seeing Lin Rei walking towards them step by step, one of them subconsciously wanted to say something like, I don't know. But when the word I came out, the person who spoke subconsciously looked at the person who said that sentence before. At this moment, he was lying on the ground, suffering from the torture of the illusory spirit blood fire. Although there were no more screams, his body was still twitching slightly. It could be seen that he was not dead, but had lost the ability to scream. Seeing his companion in such a state, he decisively shook his head, as if he had made up his mind. He raised his head to look at Lin Rei, sorted out what he wanted to say, and said, I know I'll tell you everything. If I tell you, will I still have a chance to live? The man nervously looked at Lin Rei, as if he wanted to detect something from Lin Rei's face. Heh, seeing the man like this, Lin Rei smiled disdainfully and nodded. Sure. As long as you tell me everything you know, I promise I won't kill you. Don't worry. Really? Hearing Lin Rei let him go, the man was stunned and blurted out subconsciously. I, Lin Rei, promise that as long as the person in front of me tells me what I want to know, I promise I won't kill him, won't touch him, and won't cause any physical, spiritual, or mental pain to him. If I violate this promise, I will be killed by the 9 heavens' thunder and burned by the earth fire. Without hesitation, Lin Li swore an oath to the heavens. Lowering his head, he looked at the man and said calmly, All right. Now that things have come to this, it's time for you to tell me what I want to know. Alas! Poor child! Seeing Lin Rei like this, Pai Xiu pitied the man, but the pity disappeared and was replaced by a murderous intent. However, Pai Xiu's murderous intent flashed by so quickly that the man didn't react at all, let alone sense it. Say it. Although we are from the heavenly court, they have never seen us as humans. Every time there is a dangerous situation, they let us charge into the battlefield, and the rewards are always given to those big shot. It's good that we can use this opportunity to leave the heavenly court and stay in the God realm. Yes. Being an idle person in the God realm, traveling around and comprehending the truth of the great Tao, isn't it better than being a slave in the holy world? Hearing the two's words, the rest of the people nodded in agreement. That's great. Great! The idea in your heart is better. We all agree. Hearing his companion's words, the man nodded and made a decision in his heart. Then he looked up and said slowly, It's like this. At this time, Lin Rei and Pai Xiu pricked up their ears and listened carefully. They wanted to know what it was that could make so many saints not hesitate to come to the lower realm. Some time ago, something unbelievable happened in the holy world. You should know about Tao ancestor Hongjun, right? Yes, Hongjun became a part of the Tendo. What happened to him? Hearing the man's question, Lin Rei couldn't help but ask. That's right. Tao ancestor Hongjun is an invincible existence in the holy world. However, a while ago, Tao ancestor Hongjun suddenly appeared and told Celestial Emperor Haotian that the creation jade disc is missing 2 Taos and asked Celestial Emperor Haotian to find them. What? Missing 2 Taos? Doesn't that mean? At this time, Lin Rei was shocked. Not only Lin Rei, but even Pai Xiu was the same. Who didn't know about the creation jade disc? It contained 3,000 Taos. It was also because of the creation jade disc that Hongjun could succeed in the Tao integration and become a supreme being in the holy world. However, now that they heard that the creation jade disc was missing 2 Taos, didn't that mean that the 3,000 Taos were incomplete? Hongjun's cultivation level was, of course, all living beings could comprehend the 3,000 Taos, but the Taos they comprehended were projections of the 3,000 Taos and not the real Taos. However, the creation jade disc was different. It contained the source of the Taos. Now that the source was missing, Hongjun's 3,000 Taos were broken. However, Pai Xiu thought the same as Lin Rei. As an existence from the Eldritch era, he knew the seriousness of this matter very well. Looks like you've already guessed it. Seeing the shock on Lin Rei and Pai Xiu's faces, the man smiled and continued. You're right. Tao ancestor Hongjun is no longer complete, so he left the Tendo and returned to the holy world. Originally, this was a secret operation and only people from the heavenly court knew about it. However, I don't know who spread the news. In a short period of time, all the major forces in the holy world received this news and obtained the location of the 2 Taos from St. Tianji. Could it be? Thinking of a possibility, Lin Rei looked at Pai Xiu. At the same time, the two of them looked at each other and understood each other's thoughts. That's right. St. Tianji observes the mysteries of heaven. The location of the 2 Taos is the God world, but the exact location is unknown. As expected, Hearing the man's words, Lin Rei revealed a look of understanding. However, what did this have to do with them coming to the sect? Not only that, but they also beat up his disciple and peeped at his wife. Continue. Pai Xiu saw the man stop and said coldly. What? Looking at Pai Xiu, the man was stunned. In his heart, Lin Rei only wanted to know about this matter. Tell me why you came to the major sects. Lin Rei knew what Pai Xiu was thinking, so he said. Looking at Lin Rei and Pai Xiu, as well as Lin Wanyu and the others who were recovering in the distance, the man said, Actually, this matter is very related to the two Daos. Although we came from the sacred world, the divine world is vast and boundless. No one has the ability to explore the borders of the divine world. Therefore, the fastest way to find the two Daos is to use the local sections. There is strength in numbers. Even if they know about it, they don't have the ability to take over the Daos. In the end, our mission will be completed. Young Master Xing, you chose the Rain Sect, but no one expected that when we arrived at the Rain Sect, we would be challenged. Moreover, the challengers were 3 beautiful women. Therefore, the man didn't dare to continue speaking. Cold sweat was already flowing out because he was afraid that if he continued speaking, something bad would happen. So that's the case. Hearing this, Lin Rei understood. He also knew why so many sects suddenly asked for help. It turned out that the main culprit was from the sacred world. However, in the end, the man still didn't say what Daos they were talking about. Thinking of this, Lin Rei looked at him and asked, Which Daos are they talking about? It's the Space Dao and the Slaughter Dao. The man quickly said everything he knew. Space. Slaughter. When the Pai Xiu heard that it was these two Daos, his eyes widened. His face was filled with disbelief. He didn't expect that the two Daos that were left behind would be such powerful existences. It seems like the heavens are helping me. At this moment, Lin Rei thought differently from the Pai Xiu. The Pai Xiu was shocked at most, but Lin Rei wasn't. Not only wasn't he shocked, but his ambition was obvious. No matter which Daos it was, they were extremely powerful existences. As the saying went, time was king and space was emperor. They were defined since the beginning of the world. As for the Slaughter Dao, it was even more powerful. It was born for slaughter. As long as he got one of them, Lin Rei believed that he could break through to the Saint Realm in a short time. Even if he went to the sacred world, with the support of the two Daos, he believed that he would be able to improve his cultivation even faster. Sooner or later, he would be on the same level as the Dao ancestor. At that time, he might be able to know what happened at that time. He could even let the little dragon and the system go down to the mortal realm to find the existence of Hongming's supreme physique and support it at all costs. Moreover, he had too many things to know from the little dragon and the system. Of course, there was one more important thing. It was none other than refining a physical body for the little dragon to integrate into. Ding mission. Do you accept? Suddenly, the familiar sound of the system notification rang out. For a moment, Linley smiled. A mission that appeared at this time, it was obvious that it was related to the two Dao. Thinking about it, Lin Rei nodded and smiled. Let's take a look at the mission first. Although he had already guessed the mission, he still wanted to see it for himself to feel at ease. After all, the system was too cunning. Moreover, more importantly, it was too deceitful. Every time, the one who was unlucky was Lin Rei. Therefore, he had to be more careful at this time. Ding, Mission 1, Find the Space Origin. Reward, Level 1 Chance of Survival. Warlord Level Up. Warlord level up 4 times. Ding, Mission 2, Find the Killing Origin. Reward, Ancestral Dragon Secret Technique, Entry to the Blood Sea Secret Realm. Ding, Host, do you accept? TSK, why do I feel like there's a trap? Listening to the system's mission, although it was extremely good, Lin Rei just felt that something was wrong. It didn't feel right. Ding, host, please respond quickly. If you don't respond within 10 seconds, it will be regarded as a forfeit. 10, 9, 8, 7, 4, 3, damn, how can it be like this? 2, I accept. I accept. Lin Ray didn't have any time to consider. Although it was said to take 10 seconds, the system shouted out 7 seconds really quickly. Only the last 3 seconds were slightly delayed. In the end, Lin Ray nodded his head and accepted. Ding, young master, the host has accepted the mission. The mission must be completed within 300 years. If the mission is not completed according to the time limit, the system will automatically revive a strong enemy killed by the host. And within a day after the revival of the strong enemy, the host's cultivation base will be sealed. You. Mother F***. Hearing the system's words, Lin Ray was stunned. His mouth couldn't help but twitch. Even though he had to be mentally prepared, he hadn't expected the system to be this shameless. A strong enemy killed by him, and his cultivation base was sealed for a day. Wasn't this just asking him to die? If I may be so bold as to ask, that powerful enemy you resurrected shouldn't have resurrected in front of me, right? Linley asked. Ding, the host is wrong. Of course, the revival would happen in front of the host. Otherwise, why would the host's cultivation base be sealed? Speechless, helpless. Lin Ray didn't want to say anything more. He hadn't expected the system to be this playful. If the person he killed could be sealed, wouldn't that be terrible? Rather than that, he might as well be killed by the system. But the bitter thing was that he had already accepted the mission. If he were to give up now, the consequences would be unimaginable. Heis. Lin Ray couldn't help but sigh. The system was just too king good at scamming people. It was still alright in the past. But now it was impossible to guard against it. Kid, be content. The little dragon's voice rang out. Lin Ray was stunned for a moment before laughing bitterly. You have the cheek to say that? Come and try being scammed by your own system every day. By then, you won't think this way anymore. Rolling his eyes, Lin Fan replied in exasperation. All right then. But, since these two sources have appeared, no matter what method you use, you have to get them. But, this will bring you great benefits when you enter the Saint's world. Furthermore, if you can get Hongjuan's creation Jade Butterfly, that would be even better. By then, you'll be able to complete all 3,000 Great Daos and achieve Hongmeng with twice the results with half the effort. Ugh! Upon hearing the little dragon's words, Lin Ray rolled his eyes even more. Feeling exasperated in his heart, he thought to himself, bloody hell! How can the creation Jade Butterfly be that easy to get? Besides, even though Hongjuan's strength has regressed a little, he's still at the Dao integration state. Given my current strength, let alone drinking it, I might not even be able to defeat an existence at the pinnacle of a Dao fruit saint. What you're saying is purely asking me to court death. Do you know that? Chapter 887. I don't care. Anyway, you have already accepted the mission. You must complete it within 300 years. Of course, you can choose not to do it. But you know the system's punishment. When the time comes, even I won't be able to save you. Besides, as the little dragon spoke, his eyes flashed with anticipation. Don't forget that you promised me a physical body. I've been waiting for it. Lin Ray was speechless. He didn't say anything. He knew what the little dragon was talking about. Besides, he had always felt guilty towards the little dragon. Along the way, he had been alone many times. And every time, he had to pay the price of falling into a deep sleep. Regarding this, all right. Nodding, he raised his head to look at Xiaolong. Seeing the amused smile on Xiaolong's face, Linley was startled. He then said, Don't worry. I'll think of a way to get my body back. However, For your physical body, you must use the best one. If you casually refine a physical body, your power will be restrained. So, I understand. Do as you see fit. I'll listen to you. You have the final say in this aspect. The little dragon's smile was still there. Especially after hearing Lin Rei's words, his heart was filled with warmth. Okay. Since that's the case, when I find a suitable physical body for you, I will start refining it for you. But before that, I need to find you some materials to refine your physical body. These materials may take some time because those materials are very rare. It can even be said that they don't exist in the divine world. Perhaps you can only find them in the holy world. Huh? Can only find them in the holy world? The little dragon was puzzled. He didn't know what to say. He had an omnipotent system by his side. Why did he say that it could only be found in the holy world? Lin Rei understood the little dragon's doubts. The things in the system are too expensive. Every item you need will cost tens of millions, or even hundreds of millions. I can't afford it? Besides, even if I buy it on credit, how many missions do you think I need to complete? How many people do I need to save up? 100 years? 1,000 years? 10,000 years or 100,000 years? If that's the case, why don't we find it for you after we enter the saint's world? That might be much faster. What do you think? Little dragon. The little dragon didn't want to say anything more to Lin Rei. He shook his head helplessly and sighed. All right, do as you see fit. Just let me know if you need anything. The great Tao of space and the great Tao of slaughter. Any one of these two great Taos would be enough for you to break through to the saint realm quickly. However, at the same time, although the speed of the breakthrough has increased, the danger that comes with it has also increased greatly. You should understand this. Yes, understood. Lin Rei nodded in agreement. And it's good that you know. Anyway, fortune and misfortune depend on each other, and misfortune is caused by fortune. You do as you see fit. With that, the little dragon's figure began to fade. I'm going to rest first. I'll leave the rest to you. I believe that I don't need to do anything with these small fries. As for the two great Taos, remind me when you find them. At that time, I'll tell you how to absorb and refine them into several bodies. Looking at the little dragon's fading figure, Lin Rei nodded. Got it. You can go now. Leave the rest to me. The moment Lin Rei finished speaking, the little dragon's figure completely disappeared and returned to the system. Coming back to his senses, Lin Li felt that he was running out of time. Two grand Taos. In the eyes of most people, finding and fusing with them within 300 years was an impossible task. But, for Lin Li, the only thing that mattered was that it would be better if he completed it. The impossible didn't exist for Lin Rei at all. Not for any other reason, but because the price of completing the impossible was too great. He couldn't afford it, and he didn't dare to pay it. Phew, letting out a long sigh, the tension in his heart calmed down a little. Forget it. I'll deal with whatever comes my way. I'll cross the bridge when I come to it. What's the big deal if I lose my head? No, I can't let anything happen to me. I still have to ride on the battlefield and achieve immortality. Thinking of this, Lin Rei couldn't help but laugh foolishly. In this regard, the remaining few saints of the Pishio clan were startled. The Pishio was fine, but the saints were stunned. They were completely afraid of Lin Rei's smile, so they couldn't help but take 2 steps back. They wanted to escape far away from Lin Rei's smile. No, nothing. Hearing the voice of the Pishio, Lin Rei came back to his senses and responded. His eyes locked on the saint. Looking at them, a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. However, this murderous intent swept past in an instant. I, Lin Rei, am a man of my word. I will abide by my decision and not kill you. After saying that, Lin Rei turned around and was about to leave. Seeing Lin Rei's action, a smile appeared on the corner of the Pishio's mouth. He knew Lin Rei's thoughts very well. After all, they had been together for thousands of years. How could he not know Lin Ray's thoughts? Ah, thank you, thank you. Seeing that Lin Ray was so trustworthy, the man and the others hurriedly knelt on the ground and thanked him again and again. Okay. In response, Linley took a step forward. His figure flashed and disappeared from where he was standing. However, the space around Shadow began to blur and twist. In the next moment, Linley, who had disappeared in the distance, suddenly reappeared and grabbed Shadow. Ah! Ing cried out in alarm. Facing the hand that had suddenly reached out, Ing subconsciously mobilized his cultivation base to fight. Damn you! What are you doing? Are you trying to murder your husband? Husband! Husband! The curse had already been cast and was about to be thrown to Lin Ray, but fortunately, Ying's control was strong. When she heard her husband's voice, the curse instantly flashed past Lin Ray's ear. Boom! An enormous explosion rang out from 1,000 meters behind Linley. The buildings he had taken out were instantly destroyed, with not even a speck of dust remaining. In this regard, Lin Ray, who felt this powerful strength, broke out in cold sweat. His heart trembled slightly. Obviously, he scared Lin Ray just now. If the attack just now bombarded him, the consequences. Thinking about it, Lin Ray felt a burst of fear in his heart and then shook his head to stop himself from thinking about it. However, at this time, Ing observed Lin Ray's appearance at the moment. With a puff sound, she directly burst out laughing. That face was like a spring breeze, that voice was like an aureole. In an instant, the fear in her heart was swept away. Humph, still laughing, looking down at his wife, Lin Ray's interest was aroused. Then, he slapped her buttocks. If there's a next time, I'll punish you. Well, I know, husband. At this moment, Ying's face was blushing, looking like a little girl. She had completely lost her previous valiant and invincible momentum. However, in the distance, Pai Xiu did not have a chance to see Lin Ray. At this moment, he only had one thought. It was nothing else but to kill. He wanted to kill these cultivators who were related to the heavenly court. Looking at the remaining people, Pai Xiu sneered. Come on, you've already finished your business with Linley, and he also said that he won't kill you. Since that's the case, let's settle the score between us. Everyone who was originally happy because they were let go suddenly heard the Pai Xiu say so. Suddenly, their originally happy and excited hearts, with a plop, instantly fell. As the saying goes, the higher you stand, the more miserable you will fall. It seems that this is the feeling now. Plop, without any hesitation, several saints directly knelt on the ground. Tears flowed down uncontrollably. Their faces were full of grievances and begging for mercy. Looking at Pai Xiu, the leading man kowtowed and begged for mercy. Senior, although we are from the heavenly court, we don't know anything about you and Heavenly Emperor Haotian. Moreover, you are a powerful person in the untainted land. What about us? We are just ants in the later generations. We have nothing to do with your affairs. At this moment, the man almost called himself a beast in order to let Pai Xiu let him and his companions behind him go. Say, Senior, please let us go as if we are farts. Don't you need to kill us? How about this, I'll be an errand boy in front of you, as long as you don't kill us. Die. Without any nonsense, after listening to the man's words, Pai Xiu's figure flashed and disappeared instantly. A shocking killing intent appeared in an instant. Its speed was even faster than before. Seeing that Pai Xiu still wanted to kill them, the faces of the people who were kneeling on the ground changed dramatically. They quickly bounced up from the ground and used their cultivation. The 6 of them looked at each other and then fled in different directions. Their speed was faster than their original speed limit. Whoosh, the man who had begged Lin Ray for mercy before was now flying in the direction where Lin Ray was at the fastest speed. You can't go through here. You'd better change direction. At this time, Lin Ray said. Looking at Lin Rei's serious look, the man was stunned. But it was only for a moment. Then, without any hesitation, he went in the direction he had determined and vowed not to look back. Alas! I told you that you can't go through here. You don't believe me. In that case, forget it. 1, 2, 3, bang! A muffled sound came from behind. The young man who had been incessantly trying to dissuade Linley was now stuck in the air, his limbs spread out in all directions, unable to move forward. It was as though there was a wall blocking him. How could this be? Feeling the existence of a wall in front of him, the man's face was ugly. I told you that you can't go through here, but you didn't believe me. Look at it now. Really? At this time, Lin Rei's voice came into the man's ears. He was stunned and his face was full of regret. Bang! Bang bang, however, then a few muffled sounds came. The man looked back with difficulty and saw that his companions who had been separated from him were now like him. They looked very ugly and were blocked. Seeing this scene, the man's eyes fell on the smiling Lin Rei. Looking at him, the man's face was very ugly. Now that he went to Lin Rei, he couldn't figure out who could arrange such a thing without anyone noticing. Good boy, I like this move. Seeing that the person he wanted to kill was blocked, for a moment, the Pai Xiu turned back and grinned at Lin Rei. Then, it sped up. Pucci ahead was easily taken by the Pai Xiu. In this regard, Lin Rei's face was expressionless. It was as if nothing had happened and he was flirting with his wife. A trapped beast will still fight. You are so cruel. Before, you clearly said that you would let us go, but now yes, I did let you go before, didn't I? Indeed, before, he did do what he said, but now, don't waste time. Looking at the man, Lin Rei said with a sneer, the reason why I did that before was just to know why you came down and, do you really think I will be afraid of the Tao? What do you mean? Hearing this, the man was stunned. A bad premonition arose spontaneously. The Tao. TSK, I have to say that it is indeed very powerful. However, as he said that, a trace of disdain appeared in his eyes. The Tao is useless to me. I am not bound by the Tao at all. You can say that I am myself. The Tao cannot detect my existence at all. No. Impossible, you can't. The man couldn't believe what Lin Rei said. What a joke. What kind of existence was the Tao? Tendo was only one of the many branches of the Tao. However, the Tao existed in nothingness. In other words, the Tao was everywhere. Everything in the world was within the Tao. It was impossible for someone to jump out of the 6 paths and not be within the 5 elements. It was even more impossible for someone to not be outside of the Tao. It can't be helped if you don't believe me. After all, I am the only existence that is not within the Tao. So, no matter how much trouble I cause, at most, I will only be moving my mouth. The man was speechless. Looking at Lin Rei's serious look, the man began to believe in his heart. But so what? In the current situation, even if he believed it, what could he do? In the end, he could not escape the result, death. At this moment, the man no longer tried to escape. He landed from the sky and sat on the ground. He smiled bitterly and shook his head. His face was filled with indescribable bitterness. I didn't expect that there would be someone like you in the divine realm. I'm afraid that even those reclusive old men in the holy world would be restless if they knew about it. With an existence like you, no matter who it is, they would be terrified. Even Tendo and the Tao would not be an exception. Although he was talking to himself, everyone heard him very clearly. At this moment, no one spoke. Only the Pai Xiu was still crazily lying on the sofa. The sound of splattering could be heard constantly. 6 people were killed by the Pai Xiu until only the man was left. Sigh. I don't want to, but... As he spoke, a 3 feet long cold light appeared in his hand. He looked at Lin Rei with endless sorrow. The strength of the heavenly court is very terrifying. Especially since the Tao ancestor has already appeared. Along with all the reclusive people, they will come one after another. If you want to enter the holy world, you must be careful of the heavenly emperor. Speaking until here, the man did not speak anymore. He smiled bitterly twice. His eyes were filled with determination. He waved his sword and stabbed his heart from top to bottom. Splatter! The sound of flesh being pierced could be heard on the spot. The man's sword pierced through his heart. His eyes that were originally shining with vigor began to slack at this moment. Chapter 888. Everyone from the Rain Sect saw what happened to the man. They could only lower their heads in silence, not daring to look at Lin Ray and the others. Even though there were peak ultimate venerable cultivators in this group, they were just ants in front of a saint. However, who could kill such a high and mighty saint so easily? So what if they had ultimate venerable cultivators? Would they dare to make a sound? No, the answer was no. They had no reason to do so, and they didn't have the strength to do so. In this dog-eat-dog world, the law was like this. If you were stronger than the other party, you could do whatever you wanted. If you were weaker than the other party, you could only keep quiet. Otherwise, you could only end up like this. The strong preyed on the weak. The fittest survived, and the unfit were eliminated. The law of the world was there, and no one could do anything about it. It's good that he's dead. At this time, it's better to die. Looking at the man's corpse, a hint of sadness flashed through Linley's eyes. Perhaps even Linley himself didn't notice the look on his face. Whoosh! A stream of illusory spirit blood fire rushed out and landed on the man's corpse. In an instant, the corpse was burned to ashes, and not even a trace of it was left. Just like that, the massacre ended, and Lin Ray's anger subsided a lot. However, as for Haotian, even if the incident just now didn't happen, he would still kill this group of people. After all, if it wasn't for Haotian, he wouldn't have lost his sight back then. However, in the other two sects, Alienation and Cullen, they had both received help. However, Cullen's situation wasn't optimistic, but he still managed to escape from the Danzong sect. After all, the ones who went to support them were the ancient corpse vault's master, Gu Feng, and Lin Xianyuan, who had just reached the ultimate venerable realm in this life, and those who followed Cullen this time were all peak ultimate venerable realm existences, so escaping wasn't a problem at all. As for the Sword Sect, it was Lin Ray's doppelganger, Sakura, who was going to the Sword Sect. Lin Ray was not worried about him at all. After all, Lin Ray was very clear about Sakura's ability. As long as he was not at the peak of the sage realm, a sage like him would not be able to stop Sakura. At this moment, everything was settled. Raising his head to look at the members of the Rain Sect, a hint of killing intent flashed across his eyes. Of course, it was just a flash of killing intent. He didn't really want to kill them all. No matter what, the Rain Sect was still a top-notch power that supported the entire firmament. It wouldn't be good to destroy them just like that. Furthermore, although he was not in the Tao, Linley still believed in negative karma. After all, his killing intent was getting thicker and thicker. Let's go. Arriving at the Pishio's side, Lin Ray looked at the group and nodded. With a thought, his divine sense wrapped around the group, and in an instant the group disappeared. Phew, they're finally gone. Putong, after sensing that Lin Ray and the others' auras were far away from the Rain Sect, everyone exhaled heavily, and their bodies relaxed. In the next moment, everyone, including the Rain Sect's Grand Elders, fell to the ground powerlessly. Apart from the expression of being lucky to have escaped disaster, everyone's faces were filled with joy, excitement, happiness, and tears. Their expressions were extremely complicated. However, 100,000 miles away from the Rain Sect, there was a mountain range. The mountain range was very magnificent, and the roars of beasts could be heard from time to time. At this moment, in the center of the mountain range, on the tallest mountain peak, the space twisted, and in the next moment, a group of people appeared on the mountain peak. Holy shit, Lin Ray, can you tell us first next time? How did you know we were going to come here? This group of people was Lin Ray and the others that the Rain Sect and the Tool Sect were afraid of. After leaving the Rain Sect, Lin Ray directly used teleportation to come here. After all, this place was quiet and surrounded by mountains. No one would disturb them. You? If you don't come with me, where do you think you're going? Seeing the Pai Xiu like that, Lin Ray was stunned for a moment. However, he didn't give the Pai Xiu any face and directly retorted, "Besides, there are benefits for you to come with me. Do you think I'm like you? Just because of a medicinal field, you've been nagging me the whole way. My ears are still hurting from all the noise. Seriously." "Hey, holy shit, what do you mean?" Hearing Lin Ray's words, the Pai Xiu immediately became angry. "Damn you, if you didn't send me a message, I would still be happily eating medicinal herbs right now. Now that the matter is done, are you going to burn the bridge after crossing the river? Do you believe I won't? What? Seeing that the Pai Xiu was getting more and more excited, Lin Ray's eyes widened. He held the spear in his hand, and an aura of battle surged. "Come, I want to see who you are. When the time comes, I will help you to beat you down and peel off your Pai Xiu's skin to make clothes for little you. I believe that clothes made from your skin will definitely have a strong defense." "Hey, I'm super, you're crazy, you're definitely staring. Okay, don't you want to fight? Come. I will fight you for 300 rounds. I will let you know what kind of strength has been preserved since the ancient times, so that you won't be a frog in a well." The scene became more and more intense. Seeing this scene, everyone looked helpless. Even Lin Wanyu directly covered her face with her hands, as if she didn't know them. Whoosh whoosh. Suddenly, just when Lin Ray and the Pai Xiu were arguing with each other, two sounds broke through the air. Everyone looked over with vigilance. Hee, no need to look. Little 5 and Little 2 are back. At this time, Lin Ray's face revealed a smile and said to everyone, "Yes." Hearing this, the vigilance in everyone's eyes instantly disappeared and returned to calmness. However, their hearts were still a little vigilant, but they didn't show it on the surface. Whoosh, looking up, they saw 9 people rushing towards where they were. Especially when they saw Sakura, everyone couldn't help but be surprised. Although they had seen him before, and Ing and the others also knew, they couldn't help but be surprised when they saw him again. Looking at Sakura, Ing turned around and looked at her husband with a bitter look. In this regard, sensing the bitterness from his wife, Lin Ray instantly understood. He couldn't tell her and could only stiffen his neck and look at Sakura. "Humph, pervert, making an avatar to look like yourself. Aren't you afraid that your wife will recognize the wrong person? F***ck, damn you, Pai Xiu." Originally, he was worried because of his wife's bitter look, and now Pai Xiu, this bastard, actually added fuel to the fire. Sure enough, in an instant, a touch of coldness came from the side. Without thinking, Lin Ray knew who it was. He didn't dare to look and just looked at Pai Xiu, speechless. "Okay, don't make trouble. Little 5 and Little 2 are back. Let's see if they're injured first." While talking, the two groups of people sped up. The next moment, they arrived and landed on the mountain peak. Plop, the two groups of people just landed. Except for Sakura, the others knelt in front of Lin Ray. "Young master, subordinate is incompetent and couldn't protect little master, it's really..." "Yes, young master, subordinate is incompetent and couldn't protect little Mississippi young master, please punish us." "Ah, no, it's not like that." At the side, when Little 5 and Little 2 heard the people protecting them saying so, they hurriedly pleaded with Lin Ray. "Master, yes, enough." At this time, Lin Ray didn't give the two a chance to plead and was interrupted. "This matter is not your fault. No one thought that the sage would suddenly descend to the mortal world. Regarding this, it's my fault for not thinking it through and causing you all to fall into danger. After saying that, he waved his hand and a huge amount of spiritual power instantly turned into a few big hands, grabbing the people kneeling on the ground. Let's leave this matter as it has already happened. However, there are more important things now, so let's not talk about this matter anymore. When Lin Rei said this, Pai Xiu, who was originally indifferent at the side, became serious at this moment. Because he knew that Lin Rei was going to talk about the news that had just arrived. Oh, that's right, Little 5 and Little 2, are you all okay? Just when Pai Xiu thought that Lin Rei was going to talk about serious matters, such a sentence was heard. Suddenly, the original serious face disappeared. No, nothing, Master. I'm just a little tired. After all, this is the first time I saw a real sage. Their pressure is really too strong. At the side, Carl had an excited expression. If it was dark, perhaps little stars could be seen spinning in his expression. Seeing his disciple like this, Lin Rei was speechless. How was this tiredness? This was clearly too excited. However, even so, Lin Rei still took out 2 medicinal pills from his storage ring and gave them to the 2 of them as he said, "Eat these medicinal pills and go to the side to recover." "Master, I didn't." Looking at the medicinal pills, Carl subconsciously wanted to refuse. However, just as he was about to say what he was thinking, a hand reached out from behind and tightly grabbed his shoulder. "Just take what Master gave you. Moreover, we really do need to recover. After all, we can't fight against a sage right now." The person who spoke was none other than a strange trace, who had just returned. Saying this, he took the medicinal pills and smiled. "Thank you, Master. I'll go and recover first." As he spoke, he brought Karun over and walked away alone. Finally, he found an empty and clean place and sat down cross-legged. He swallowed the pill in his hand and began to recover. As for Carl, seeing a strange trace like this, he didn't say anything and took the medicinal pills. He sat down next to a strange trace and also started to cultivate. Seeing his 2 disciples like this, Lin Rei smiled and looked at everyone with a serious expression. "This time, you might have to stop your original plans. What's going on?" Seeing Lin Rei's expression, Sakura knew that this matter was very big. Otherwise, with his understanding of Lin Rei, something of ordinary difficulty wouldn't make Lin Rei so serious. 2 Tao essences have left Tendo, and according to the news, they seem to have come to the godly realm. These 2 Tao essences are very powerful, and if we can obtain them, it will greatly shorten the time it takes to become a saint. SSS, at this moment, apart from the group of people who already knew about it, everyone else sucked in a breath of cold air. Their faces were filled with shock. The Tao essences had reached such a level, it was impossible that no one knew about it. If they could obtain it, it would greatly shorten the time it takes to become a saint. Of course, for them and Lin Rei, it was already very good to be able to become a saint after refining one of the Tao essences. Moreover, the prerequisite was that he needed time. Alright, don't be so shocked. This is the so-called matter that all the saints who came down to the lower realm, so there are many people competing with us. I want to obtain these 2 Tao essences. You should know what to do. Everyone understood. Don't worry, I will go wandering after we part ways. If there are any abnormalities, I will definitely inform you. At this moment, Sakura was the first to speak. Alright, I'll go too. Anyway, I'm bored now, so it's not bad to go wandering. By the way, I'll help you observe if there are any abnormalities. Remember, it's by the way. Pai Xiu stood out and said. But for the sake of face, so, hee. Looking at Pai Xiu, Lin Rei smiled and came to his side. He put his arm around his shoulder and said with a smile, "Alright, I know you well. If you want to help, just say it. By the way, you're really shameless." For a moment, Pai Xiu didn't know what to say. He knew that if he said anything, Lin Rei would be even more proud. Pai Xiu didn't say anything and just stood aside. Hee. Looking at Pai Xiu, Lin Rei smiled and took out some voice transmission jade slips and threw them to everyone. This instant transmission jade slips, every one of them is priceless. Just treat it as a training trip for everyone. Maybe you can come across it. Looking at everyone in a daze, Lin Rei looked at Lin Wanyu and the other disciples and said, "You don't have to go out for a while. Just follow me. I'll use this time to give you a devilish training. I guarantee that after this, your cultivation will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Especially you, Xiao Yu." What's wrong with me, master? Lin Wanyu was confused when she heard her master mention her name. You have to hurry up and cultivate. When you break through to Supreme God, I'll give you something good. Of course, if you don't break through in the time I set, then, Lin Rei shook his head as he said that, indicating that if she didn't complete the task, he wouldn't give her anything. I'll work hard. She was excited. All right. She nodded and looked at everyone. Then, her gaze fell on Lu Yuan, Gu Tongfeng, and Xiao Shui. Looking at them, Lin Rei said, "He didn't have time to spare for them today. Follow me to Talisman Grandmaster." "Yes, we'll do as you say." Hearing this, Lu Yuan and the other two quickly agreed. They were still in a daze at the moment. After all, what happened just now was too shocking. "All right. Since that's the case, then you can go. Time is tight and the task is important. Xiu Lin Rei, goodbye." He cupped his hands and said to everyone. Chapter 889. Yes, Master. All right, I'm not going to argue with you anymore. Since there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. Since that's the case, I'll take my leave first. After Lin Rei finished speaking, everyone bowed to Lin Rei before they turned into streams of flowing light and disappeared. In the blink of an eye, there were only a few people left. Apart from his 2 wives, 5 disciples, Gu Tongfeng, Lu Yuan and his daughter, the rest of the people left. The scene suddenly became quiet. Everyone's eyes were focused on Lin Rei as if they were waiting for an order. "All of you." Lin Rei was stunned when he sensed everyone's gaze. Then, he smiled and said, "All right, all of you can return to the Talisman Sect with me. As for the origin of Tao, all of you don't have to worry about it." "Yes, Master." "All right." Hearing this, everyone responded in succession. "However, my husband, this is?" Shadow's voice suddenly rang out. Linley turned to look, only to see Shadow pointing at Little Snow, who was behind Lu Yuan, with an amused look on his face. "Yes, my husband. How long has it been since we parted? Why do you have such a beautiful girl by your side?" Ice did not stay idle at the side. She echoed ing. Looking at the two of them, Linley felt as though his head was about to explode. But of course, after all these years, he had come to understand one thing. That was to not reason with women, because they themselves were reason. Looking at the slightly timid Little Snow, Lin Rei smiled and said in an indifferent tone, "She's Lu Yuan's daughter. She's been cursed by the eternal night. This time, I accepted the mission from the Talisman Sect's mission hall and went to the Heavenly Cloud City to save her. I didn't expect to receive your message while I was refining pills. I'm afraid that something might happen to her, so, as he explained, he couldn't help but shift his feet between ing and ice. His speed was not very fast. Finally, he arrived beside the two of them. Lin Rei missed his wife very much when he saw her after a long time. However, how could he say such intimate things in a situation like this? Alright, let's talk about this when we return to the Talisman Sect. Once Little 5 and Little 2 have recovered, we'll set off for the Talisman Sect." As he spoke, he looked at Lu Yuan's group of 3 and asked, "The 3 of you won't have any problems, right?" No. It's fine. You decide. No problem, whatever you say. I'll listen to Sir." At this moment the three people's tones were the same. They were all respectful and courteous. They even used honorifics. Alright. Seeing how respectful the three were, Linley chuckled and didn't mind too much. After all, what had happened just now had completely shaken them to the core. It could even be said that it had completely upended their understanding of the world. After all, before the battle between deities and saints, who would have thought that a deity could defeat a saint and even kill one? Master, missed you so much during this period of time? That's right. Master has missed you during this period of time. Did you miss me? I don't say any more. When he heard his two female disciples, a gratified smile appeared on Lin Rei's face. However, when he saw that his third disciple was about to speak, he recalled what his two female disciples had said. He immediately felt a chill run down his spine and hurriedly spoke to stop his third disciple. After saying what he wanted to say, Lin Rei felt that it was inappropriate and immediately explained, Don't go back if you want to say anything. Little fatty, you can talk to your fourth sister in the great world. However, although he said that, he didn't think so in his heart. Sigh. It's the same for two disciples. You should have enough time to talk to them. Lin Xianyuan nodded his head as he looked at Lin Wanyu and Lin Yuro. He obediently stood at the side and didn't say anything. When Lu Yuan and the other two saw this scene, they were simply stunned. They knew the strength of these three people very well. Say it, boss. Lin Rei turned around and asked Lin Wanyu, Master hasn't been here during this period of time. How did you miss him? Tell us. If you say it well, there might be a reward. Yes, tell us. Your master's things are all good. It would be a waste if you don't take them. Even if he doesn't have them, master's wife still has some good things. Although they can't be compared to your master's, but in the entire divine world, other than your master, I don't think anyone else can take out such good things. And that's right. Even if your master doesn't give it to you, master's wife will give it to you. What if you're bullied? At this moment, Ying and Bing hurriedly stepped forward and spoke. However, when their words reached Lu Yuan and the other two's ears, their hearts trembled and they smiled bitterly. Motherf ****** bullied? Are you kidding me? Late Divine Emperor cultivation. Their fighting power might even surpass early Divine Venerables. Who dares to bully them? They should be thanking the heavens and earth if they don't bully others. Moreover, in the entire divine world, I'm afraid only those reclusive sects or the supreme elders of the top sects can suppress them. As for the others, of course, the three of them didn't dare to say that they missed the president. The three of them didn't say anything. They just stood there and listened quietly. However, when Lin Wanyu heard her master and master's wife's words, she immediately opened her mouth and couldn't stop. For a moment, Lin Rei's headache became bigger. Master, do you know how much your disciple misses you? I miss the old days. At this moment, Lin Wanyu was talking nonstop. Her expression was rich and varied. Sometimes she was sad, sometimes she was smiling, and sometimes she was happy. She was indescribably happy. Lin Rei covered his face and didn't want to say anything to his disciple. However, Ying and Bing were very happy to hear this. After all, she was praising their husband. From time to time, the two of them couldn't help but clap and cheer. In response, Lin Rei sat down on the ground and waited for her to finish. During this free time, Lin Rei went to the system space and opened the shop. Looking at the dazzling array of possibilities, Lin Rei couldn't help but feel excited. However, when he saw the prices, Lin Rei decisively didn't have the chance to buy anything that was so expensive that it was off the charts. System, adjust the prices of the possibilities to what I can bear. Of course, the possibilities you pick out must be good stuff. I don't want anything bad. Ding. System adjustment has been initiated. Please wait a moment. Ding. System adjustment is in progress. Please wait a moment. System notifications rang out one after another, and the interface of the shop started to blur. Whooshed one by one, the possibilities began to disappear. However, in the instant that the possibilities disappeared, a brand new possibility would appear. In terms of price, it was more humane. Of course, it was the price that Lin Ray could bear. After all, although he had paid back all the points and reputation he owed the system for killing the sage, he didn't have much left. 5 minutes later, the entire shop had been changed to prices that Lin Ray had set. Ding. System adjustment has been completed. Ding. Does the host require service? Service? Hearing the system's words, Lin Ray was tempted. Although the system was his, he hadn't bought many things from it. Ding. If you require service, please pay 300,000 points or reputation. Lin Ray. Scram, hurry up and scram. Without hesitation, he cursed. The tempted him now only wanted to find a fruit knife and stab the system a few times. Ding. You have insulted the system and received punishment. What? Punishment? At this moment, Lin Ray was dumbfounded. His face was blank. It was as if he was wondering who he was, where he was, and what he was doing. Ding. Lightning tribulation has been formed. Do you want to punish the host? F***ck, what's going on? Are you asking me? The system asked. Lin Ray replied instinctively. No. Perhaps Lin Ray was thinking too much. After he said no, the dark clouds in the sky didn't disperse. Instead, they became more intense. Looking at the situation, Lin Ray was in trouble. Ding. Punishment. Lin Ray. Crackle. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. A lightning serpent as thick as a water bucket suddenly appeared from within the thunderclouds, and then struck directly towards Linley's head. F***ck. Everything happened too quickly. Seeing that the lightning serpent was about to land on his head, Linley instinctively raised his Chaos Dragon spear in an attempt to block it. However, the system's next sentence stunned him. Ding. Warning. Warning, the host is now in the system. The host cannot use the Chaos Dragon spear or any other weapons. If the host violates the rules, the system will increase the lightning tribulation by 10 times. Ding. Host, please be careful. F***ck. With a swoosh, the Chaos Dragon spear was kept away. All his cultivation was removed. It wasn't that he didn't want to. It was that he couldn't. Even though he wasn't sure what level the lightning tribulation was, but if the system used it, it must be something extraordinary. Most importantly, Linley believed that the system's punishment would be within the limits of what he could bear. But if the attack was increased by 10 times, needless to say, he would be turned into meat paste in the next moment. Of course, there was also the possibility that nothing would be left. Boom. With a muffled sound, the lightning fell. Lin Ray didn't dodge. He didn't want to lose face in front of the system. But, a hysterical scream came out of Lin Ray's mouth. The pain spread through his entire body. There wasn't a single part of his body that didn't feel the lightning tribulation. At this moment, Linley's body in the outside world began to tremble slightly. His originally rosy and healthy face instantly turned pale. At this moment, it was as if Linley had bathed in a pool of water. His clothes were completely soaked and stuck to his body. Husband, you. What happened to you? There was a scream. Bing, who had been listening quietly, glanced at Linley. His heart was in his throat. His figure flashed and came to Linley's side. He held him in his arms and called out with concern. What happened? At this moment, Ing came back to his senses and came to Lin Ray's side. A stream of spiritual energy entered Lin Ray's body. He wanted to investigate, but the moment the spiritual energy entered Lin Ray's body, it disappeared like a yak entering the sea. This scene attracted everyone's attention. Looking at Lin Ray's current state, except for Little Fool and Little Five who were still recovering, everyone came to Lin Ray's side. They looked at him with concern and worry and started to pray. However, Lin Rei didn't know about this. At this moment, he was still suffering from the lightning tribulation. The pain continued to spread throughout his entire body. Linley was completely helpless. He discovered that in this place, not only was he unable to resist, he couldn't even use his body. Even a half-saint's body wouldn't be so unsightly. You deserve it. Who told you to be so presumptuous in front of the system? Now you're stupid. Lin Rei, who was suffering from the lightning tribulation, heard the little dragon's gloating voice. For a moment, he wanted to kick it away. But now he couldn't do it. The pain had paralyzed his body. He couldn't do anything else. Great master, in the end, he didn't want to be gloated by the little dragon. He cursed the little dragon with difficulty. Then, he closed his 5 senses and ignored the little dragon. As for whether the little dragon said anything after that, he didn't know. Boom! Crack! Then, another lightning tribulation swooped down and landed on Lin Rei's body. Although it was painful, Lin Rei also gained a lot of benefits. For example, when his physical body was sealed, Lin Rei felt that his physical body was much stronger than before. It was much better than before. Time passed little by little. In the blink of an eye, a few hours had passed. The last lightning tribulation was finally safely passed by Lin Rei. But that set of clothes, he couldn't take it back. Right now, in the outside world, Linley's body had finally stopped trembling. His face had regained its normal color, and his breathing had returned to normal. It was as though nothing had happened at all. Phew! It's okay. Seeing Lin Rei like this, Ying and the others finally breathed a sigh of relief. But Lin Rei hadn't woken up yet, and everyone was still a little worried. Damn it, really? Didn't I just say a few words casually? Is there a need to be so cruel? He secretly muttered in his heart, but his face showed a smile. He didn't dare to show his inner thoughts. After all, at least he didn't want to go through the pain just now again. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving the system's first punishment. The reward for triggering the first punishment is a newbie punishment pack, 50,000 experience points, a godly travel talisman, and a fireball talisman. Damn it! Looking at the gift box in front of him, Lin Rei was stunned and subconsciously said, I can get a reward like this? However, seeing that the system didn't respond, Lin Rei didn't say anything for a while. Ding! Discovered a gift box. Does the host want to open it? Yes. I must open it. Ding! Okay, please wait a moment. Ding! The gift box has been opened. Please check it yourself. Let me see what good things there are. As he spoke, Linley's figure flashed as he appeared in front of the open boxes, only to see 4 items lying there quietly. Chapter 890. This is, a thin golden piece of paper was placed in the gift box. It emitted an aura that made Lin Rei feel comfortable all over. Looking at it, the originally silent Chaos Sutra began to operate on its own. The speed was so fast that it was about to break through its previous speed. However, it didn't stop. The speed was still increasing rapidly as if there was no limit. It can't be. Ding! Discovered the 5th level of the Chaos Sutra. Will the host accept it? Sure enough, the system's notification came. What the system said was the same as what Lin Rei thought. Yes, this was what he thought. The cultivation method he practiced was the 5th level of the Chaos Sutra. He had cultivated the 4th level previously. If he wanted to break through to the Saint Realm, he needed the 5th level. Looking at this opportunity that could help him break through, Lin Rei smiled. Damn it, I didn't expect you to get such a good thing just for a gift box. But this is good too. I don't have to think of another way later. Saying that, Lin Rei came back to his senses and quickly replied, Accept, ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the 5th level of the Chaos Sutra. However, Due to the restriction of the cultivation method, the host can only break through the restriction to cultivate the 5th level after entering the Saint realm. I got it. The system's notification disappeared. Lin Ray suppressed his excitement and looked at the other 3 items in the gift box. However, the remaining 3 items made Lin Ray less excited. Ding. Discovered the middle level of the Hongmeng pill concoction method. Will the host accept it? Ding. Discovered the middle level of the Hongmeng pill concoction method. Will the host accept it? Ding. Discovered a high-grade breakthrough pill. Will the host accept it? Hearing the system's notification, Lin Ray's eyes dimmed. However, it was better than nothing. Accept. Ding. All rewards have been placed in the system's storage box. Host, please check at any time. Ding. Discovered the middle level of the Hongmeng pill concoction method. Will the host accept it? Yes. Without hesitation. Ding. Discovered Hongmeng elixir concoction manual. Host, would you like to learn it? Yes, practice. Ding. Okay, the system is being implanted. The required time is 30 days. 30 days. Listening to the system prompt, Lin Ray smiled and didn't pay too much attention to it. Being able to obtain these 3 cultivation methods was already very good. This was more than what he had seen before. Apart from when he had just obtained the system, the newbie gift pack back then was extremely good, such as the Primal Chaos Heavenly Scripture, Illusory Spirit Bloodfire, and so on. Forget it, what's the point of thinking so much? Let's see what's in the store first. Lin Ray shook his head violently and threw these thoughts to the back of his mind. Opening his eyes, Lin Ray's gaze fell on the shop in front of him. Looking at the upper-grade items that had changed, although they were not as good as the previous ones, in front of the dazzling lineup of upper-grade items here, Lin Ray could not help but click his tongue. This was because anything that could appear in this shop was the best in the world. 9 Clouds Cultivation Method? At this moment, Lin Ray's gaze fell on a cultivation method. The words, 9 Clouds Cultivation Method, were written on the cover of the book. The quality of the book made Lin Ray a little unfathomable, because under his powerful divine sense and mental strength, he could not see through it at all. Ding! 9 Clouds Cultivation Method comes from outside the 9 clouds. The cultivator transforms his spiritual energy into the power of the 9 clouds. Each level is stronger than the previous, and each level is twice as strong as the previous level. Cultivating to the 6th level will split heaven and earth and become a Star Master. Cultivating to the 9th level will make one immortal. Star Master? Power of the 9 clouds? Outside the 9 clouds? Hearing these unfamiliar names, Lin Ray's heart was filled with doubts and thoughts. He had only heard of the Holy World and Hongmeng. Moreover, cultivating to the 6th level of the power of the 9 clouds would allow one to split heaven and earth. Then, Great God Pangu, ding! Warning, the host's imagination has exceeded the tolerance range of your plane. Please stop immediately. What? My plane's tolerance range? The system's sudden warning caused Lin Ray's heart to tremble. If it was really as he thought, then this world was going to get worse and worse. Originally, it was just a guess, but the system's confession confirmed Lin Ray's thoughts. Thinking, Lin Ray's gaze once again fell on the 9 Clouds Cultivation Method. Looking at him, Lin Ray nodded his head and decided, System, I'll buy the 9 Clouds Cultivation Method. Ding. The first 6 levels of the 9 Clouds Cultivation Method will cost the host 30 million exchange points. Does the host still want to buy it? Lin Ray, who was originally excited and determined, suddenly choked on his words and his face turned red. 30 million. This was the amount he had just obtained from the saints. Now, in order to buy the next level of the cultivation method, it was gone. This caused Lin Ray's heart to ache a little. He was a little sad, as if his heart was bleeding. Sighing, his hand clutched his chest. His face was sad, as if he had lost his child. Buy Buy. Finally, the words buy came out of Lin Rei's mouth with difficulty. Ding. Purchase of the 9 clouds cultivation method successful. Cost the host 30 million exchange points and reputation. Ding. The host's account has spent 30 million. The current account balance is 0. Whoosh! Hearing the notification that was like a heavy hammer smashing towards him, suddenly, the sound of something breaking through the air was heard. 9 clouds? Looking up, he saw the brown cover of the 9 clouds cultivation method floating in the air in front of him. Sigh. It's because of you that my 30 million is gone just like that. But, thinking, Lin Rei felt that something was wrong. Wasn't there a total of 9 levels? Why now, thinking, Lin Rei looked up at the sky and asked, Little Dragon, why is there only 6 levels of the cultivation method? What about the remaining 3? Ding. The host's account balance is not enough. Currently, the host can only buy 6 levels. As for the remaining 3 levels, the host needs more exchange points and reputation to exchange. What? It still needs money? Hearing the system's words, Lin Rei suddenly felt that he was cheated again. How much money do I need? Knowing that it would not be a small amount, Lin Rei still wanted to ask. Ding. The 7th level requires 90 million. The 8th level requires… Stop. Don't say any more. I don't want to hear any more. Hearing the system's astronomical figures, Lin Rei quickly stopped. If he continued to listen, his heart would not be able to take it. Sigh, it seems that this time I've been cheated by the system again. Thinking about it, Lin Rei's heart was depressed and very unhappy. Ding. Would the host like to buy on credit? Of course, credit is not free. There will be interest. Every day, 1,000 exchange points. Lin Rei. Hearing this, Lin Rei did not say anything. 1,000 interest per day. This is even more expensive than a loan shark. His gaze fixed on the 9 clouds skill book in front of him. A trace of surprise flashed through his eyes. He then waved his hand and stored it away. Looking at the shop again, where the 9 clouds skill book was originally, there was now another skill book. This skill book was emitting a blood-red light that made one's hair stand on end. Bloodlust skill? Ding. The bloodlust skill is a skill that comes from Lei Feng. It is a skill that can raise the user's cultivation by 2 levels in a short period of time. However, the price is that the user's life force, blood essence, and everything the user owns, including their family and friends, will all be robbed of their life force and their next life. Just like the eternal night curse, it will not disappear with the death of the user. It will continue to linger in the world until the debt is paid. Hiss! Hearing the system's introduction, Lin Rei could not help but take a step back. His face revealed a look of horror. This is too strange. You even have this kind of cultivation method. Even if this cultivation method was placed in front of him, he probably wouldn't cultivate it. After all, the price to pay for it was not only himself, but also his family and friends. No matter who it was, they would not be able to afford it. After all, it was not worth it to cultivate for something like this. Ding. It is recommended that the host purchase a cultivation tower to increase the strength of your disciple. At this time, the system spoke. Cultivation tower? What's that? Lin Rei was puzzled. Ding. Cultivation tower has a total of 9 levels. Each level will be divided according to the strength of the person who enters. The 9 levels of the cultivation tower are divided into different areas to increase the cultivator's strength. For example, perseverance, cultivation, spiritual energy purity, skills, battle techniques, footwork, spiritual energy, divine sense, etc. Moreover, the time in this tower is divided into 1001. A day here is 100 days inside, so it is definitely worth it. If you buy the cultivation tower, I guarantee that you will not lose out. At this moment Lin Rei was silent. Although he kept saying that he was going to do the devil's training, he still had not thought of what he should do. Now that a cultivation tower suddenly appeared in front of him, it would be a lie to say that he was not tempted. However, before he acted impulsively, he first had to consider the price. Right now, he could be said to be poor. He did not have anything he wanted. How much is it? Not much. Not much? How much is not much? 16 million exchange points and reputation points only. 16 million isn't a lot? Why don't you go rob a bank instead? 16 million, to Lin Rei, was an astronomical figure. Previously, he had so many exchange points and reputation points because he killed Saint. But now, he had nothing. If he wanted to save enough money to buy the cultivation tower, he was afraid that, even if he sold his kidney, it would not be enough. Although you have no money, but you can buy it on credit. As for the benefits, I'll give you a discount this time. 100 a day, how about that? Naked temptation, but the most helpless thing was that although he knew that there was a pit in front of him, he had to jump in not for other reasons, but because he needed. Lin Rei needed the cultivation tower to raise his disciples' cultivation level. The system space fell into silence. No one spoke, and the system did not rush Lin Rei. It just waited quietly. 10 to 20 minutes passed. Lin Rei, who was in deep thought, a look of determination flashed across Lin Rei's eyes. Raising his head, he said resolutely, "Fine, I'll buy it. Damn it, when you have too many debts, you don't have to worry. When you die, you'll die. If you don't die, you'll live for thousands of years. Isn't it just 16 million? I don't care." Ding, okay, the system will now process the purchase procedures for you. 5 minutes later, Rhodes' eyes lit up. Ding, the host has successfully purchased the cultivation tower. It has been stored in the host's system storage box, please check. Sigh. 16 million. Hearing the system's words, Lin Rei's face was filled with helplessness. Ding. Due to the purchase of the cultivation pagoda, the host has put it on credit. Currently, the total balance is negative 32 million exchange point. You have to pay it back in 1,000 years. Otherwise, the system will automatically use the host's life force to pay it back. 30 million? Lin Rei, who was already depressed enough, suddenly heard that the purchase cost was twice as much as what he had heard. In an instant, only 3 words appeared in Lin Rei's mind. I've been tricked, ding. Yes, the host has purchased the cultivation pagoda for 16 million points and reputation point. Is there anything wrong? Ugh. I know. He wanted to refute, but after thinking about it carefully, there was no need to do so. Since it was a foregone conclusion, no matter how much he said, he would not be able to get the 32 million back. After thinking it through, Linley realized that he had already spent more than 60 million in just a short while. If he stayed any longer, who knew what the system would try to sell him again? Thinking about it, Lin Rei suddenly quivered and smiled. That? I'll be leaving first. After saying that, Lin Rei disappeared in a flash. However, in the outside world, Lin Rei, who had returned to his original body, opened his eyes. A light flashed in his pupils. Husband, you're awake. On the side, Bing, who had been hugging Lin Rei, felt her husband's aura and said in surprise. When he opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was his wife. Moreover, he was in his wife's embrace. For a moment, Lin Rei had the urge to not get up. Of course, this thought only flashed through his mind. He quickly struggled to get up. Come, get up. We'll go back in a while. After saying that, he reached out and hugged Bing. Then, he turned around and said to everyone. And understood. At this moment, Little 5 and Little 2 had already woken up. Looking at them, it was obvious that they had completely recovered from their previous injuries. Looking at the two of them, Lin Rei nodded in satisfaction. To be able to withstand the attack of a saint, they were also the strongest of the strongest. although they were still a little weaker than him. Since you're awake, let's go. This time, I've prepared a lot of fun things for you. I guarantee that you'll have a great time. Looking at the 5 disciples, Lin Ray could not help but provoke them a few times. In an instant, when they heard Lin Ray's words, their faces fell. They had been trained by Lin Ray before. That level, thinking about it now, the 5 of them could not help but tremble. That level of training could be said to be extremely terrifying. Even though they were now God Emperors and ultimate gods, but they could not help but feel a little afraid when they thought about it. Let's go. Ignoring the 5 of them at this moment, he said to everyone. Then, he pulled his 2 wives and stepped into the air. In response, when everyone saw Lin Ray's figure leaving, they quickly changed their cultivation and chased after him. Chapter 891. At the southern part of the mystic Yuan Mountain, the front gate of the Talisman sect was currently in a state of silence. Even though they were a top sect, they were focused on the Tao of talismans. Other than when they were recruiting new disciples, the front gate was always empty. At this moment, 2 disciples were standing on both sides of the mountain gate. Their bodies were tall and straight, and they had a very good temperament. Most importantly, the 2 disciples who were guarding the front gate had delicate features and were extremely handsome. If a person's appearance was 100 points, then these 2 disciples from the Talisman sect did not have 85 points. Sigh. The few people who came a few days ago were simply too powerful. Before those people arrived, they had already seized the sect master's position. Moreover, they seemed to have sent out all the elites and outer and inner sect elders of the sect. That's right. The man shook his head repeatedly as he listened to the conversation between his companions. His face was filled with sadness. Who said otherwise? I wonder who those people are. Even the sect master and the Grand Supreme Elders are so afraid of them. They did not even retort before they directly gave up their positions. Sigh. Forget it. This matter has nothing to do with us. This is not something that disciples like us, who are guarding the gate, should know or understand. We should just do our job properly. At this moment, a group of people had naturally arrived in front of the 2 disciples as they were chatting. No one knew if it was because the 2 disciples were too engrossed in their conversation or because they walked without making any sound. At this moment, the leader of the group was a young man. His appearance could be said to be extremely handsome. His skin was so smooth that even women would be extremely jealous of it. However, the young man's expression did not match his appearance. He frowned slightly as he stared coldly at the young disciple who was guarding the gate. He then spoke in a deep voice. You all, just now, you said that some people came to our sect and effortlessly made the sect master give up the position of sect master. Even the Grand Supreme Zhang Las doesn't dare to be impudent? His words were direct and straightforward. He didn't hide anything at all. You are. The sudden voice shocked the 2 disciples, especially when they saw the gloomy and slightly unhappy expression on the young man's face. The 2 disciples who were about to fly into a rage immediately stopped. The anger that they were about to unleash disappeared without a trace. Their tone instantly became weak. Tell me, wasn't what I said just now? Is the sect being taken over by someone else? Did the sect master abdicate of his own accord? Seeing how anxious the young man was, the 2 of them were taken aback. They hurriedly replied, Yes, yes, yes. According to the news we heard, a group of people suddenly appeared some time ago. After they arrived, they directly asked for the position of sect master. Also, sect master and the others don't seem to dare to be presumptuous. They can only obediently stand aside and listen to orders. Oh, is that so? Hearing their words, the young man narrowed his eyes, and a glint flashed in his eyes. System, let me ask you something. Say, now that the sect has been forcefully seized by someone else, can I make some adjustments to my mission? After all, the person who has seized the sect is a saint. At this moment, the young man in the lead was none other than Lin Ray, who had just returned from afar. Behind him were his wife, his apprentice, and the governor of Heavenly Cloud City, Lu Yuan, his daughter, Gu Tongfeng, and the others. Ding. No. Although the former sect master of the Talisman Grandmaster was forced to do so, this has nothing to do with your mission. Although the difficulty has increased, but what? Seeing the system hesitating, Lin Ray was puzzled. Although the difficulty has increased, but this might be a huge challenge for you. Also, after you succeed in the challenge, don't you feel that this achievement is something to be proud of? IF*CK. The system's words made Lin Ray completely speechless. In the past, he only felt that the system was shameless. But now, Lin Ray's thoughts had changed. The system was not only shameless but also extremely shameless. It had simply overturned Lin Ray's understanding of its shamelessness. Even so, Lin Ray had no other choice. After all, the system was too powerful. Moreover, even if he was the system's owner, he could not change the rules set by the system. Sigh. After letting out a long sigh, Lin Ray no longer held any hope. However, his previous thoughts had been completely disrupted. Originally, he could have easily become the sect master of the Talisman Grandmaster and completed his mission. But now, F*CK, all plans must be rushed. Heavens, are you playing with me? Unable to help himself, he let out a long howl. After he howled, the resentment in his heart instantly lessened. Not long after, peace was restored. Lin Ray returned to his usual calm state. I'm going out first. After saying those words, Lin Ray turned around with the intention of leaving. However, just as this thought appeared in his mind, the system's notification sounded again. Ding, the host does not have to be so pessimistic. Amen. Seeing that the host is so pitiful, and the system's performance in the past was pretty good, so the system has decided to slightly loosen the mission regarding the Talisman Grandmaster. Really? When he heard the system's words, Lin Ray lifted his head in confusion and looked at the sky with a questioning gaze. Although Lin Ray was inexplicably excited when he heard this news, Lin Ray could not help but feel a little scared when he thought about all the things that the system had done to him in the past. After all, every time the system did something to him, it was much more difficult than the mission. In fact, if he did not handle it well, his life might even be in danger. Cough cough, that, of course, the system has never lied. When the system met Lin Ray's gaze, it coughed twice and its voice was slightly weak. Haha, yes, it has never lied because that person would have been killed by you before he could even be deceived by you. Of course, Lin Ray only muttered these words in his heart. In reality, he did not think this way at all. At this moment, Lin Ray laughed and said to the system, "Tell me, what's the matter? Can you loosen the mission a little?" Hee, the mission is still the same as before. However, the difference is that you can attack, but you cannot use any combat techniques or martial art. Other than that, you can do whatever you want. Of course, there is another rule. You are not allowed to kill any disciple of the Talisman Grandmaster in the process of completing the mission. Otherwise, the mission will be loosened and the mission will continue as before. What do you think? At this moment, Lin Ray was overjoyed. He did not need to use his cultivation, martial arts, or combat technique. To Lin Ray, none of these were important. Although these things were gone, he still had formations and talismans. By relying on these two things, Lin Ray was confident that he would be able to firmly obtain the position of the sect master of the Talisman Grandmaster. He was not boasting in the slightest. He was serious. Why? You don't agree? When Lin Ray hesitated, the system asked in confusion. Sigh. Fine. Since it has already come to this is the only way. As Lin Ray spoke, he had a reluctant expression on his face. Amen, since that's the case then. I wish you to complete the mission quickly. Thank you for your kind words. Now that he had achieved his goal, there was no point in continuing to stay here. With a thought, he exited the space. After returning to his body, a devilish smile appeared at the corner of Lin Ray's mouth. In response, Ing, Bing, Lin Wanyu, and the others at the side all took a step back. Feeling the same, Lin Ray turned around with a puzzled expression. What's wrong with all of you? And no, nothing. That's right. Nothing. Ing and Bing regained their senses and quickly interrupted and successfully changed the topic. That, after returning to the Talisman Grandmaster, you still haven't brought us to your residence to take a look? That's right. Husband, why don't we hurry up and leave? Bing is almost exhausted. As Bing spoke, she symbolically staggered and almost fell down. Lin Ray, the corner of Linley's mouth twitched when he saw Bing's reaction. How could Linley believe in this kind of scam that could be considered a flaw? Moreover, in terms of Bing's cultivation, a peak ultimate god cultivator actually said that she was too tired. This sentence would probably bring about a sea of supercilious looks. Let's go. In the end, the beautiful Lin Ray retorted. He nodded at the two gatekeepers and said, "This is for you. You can stand guard now." As he spoke, he directly threw a bottle of low-grade elixirs to the two gatekeepers. Then, he led the group into the Talisman Grandmaster's mountain gate and rushed towards his residence. In the residence, a woman was sitting on a small bridge with her delicate feet in the water. She had a complaining look on her face, as if something had made her unhappy. Damned Lin Ray. He has been out for so long. Why didn't he send me a message? Damned Lin Ray. Why didn't he send me a message? Do I really make you so fearful and cautious? Damned Lin Ray. Just you wait. When you come back, when I see you, I will beat you into a pulp. Otherwise, my name is not Suzy Ching. As she complained, she continued to play with the water. Although there was still a look of annoyance on her face, it gradually disappeared as she played with the water. Instead, it slowly turned into a smile and clear laughter. Achoo! A sneeze came from Lin Ray's mouth. For a moment, Lin Ray, who was flying in the air, was puzzled. For Lin Ray, it was impossible for him to catch a cold. As long as he gradually got used to it, not to mention catching a cold, even cancer would not appear in his life. However, he sneezed for no reason. Lin Ray frowned at this. In his opinion, a sneeze could be an ominous sign. "Are you all right, husband?" Beside him, Ing quickly went up to him and asked after hearing Lin Ray's reaction. "I'm fine. Don't worry." As he spoke, he gave her a reassuring look. Then, he looked at the courtyard in front of him. Lin Ray couldn't help but smile. "We're here. We're here." Hearing this, everyone's spirits rose. They looked up, but when they followed Lin Ray's gaze, they were stunned. At this moment, what they saw was not the palace they had imagined, nor was it a pavilion. It was just a small courtyard. "Master, are you sure this is your temporary residence?" Looking at the courtyard, Lin Wanyu asked with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Yes, master. Are you sure it's here?" Even Alienation, who had never liked to talk, spoke up. However, her mouth was still as mean as before. "Although it looks the same, compared to your status, refining is a piece of cake." Even what? Seeing his second disciple like this, Lin Ray was startled and asked. "Sigh, so be it." At that moment, Alienation had no choice but to say it. Since that was the case, she might as well fight to the death. Thinking of this, Alienation braced herself and spoke. "This place is so different from the place you used to live. It doesn't even have a storeroom. I think the Talisman Sect is too despicable to let an ultimate god expert live in such an unsightly place. If Senior Xiefeng knew about this, I'm afraid this place would have turned into a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Demonic Phoenix? Hearing his second disciple say this name, for a moment, Linley almost missed her. I wonder what he's doing now? Husband? Husband, are we here? At that moment, Ying's voice was heard from outside just as Lin Rei was thinking about Xiefeng. We're here? He snapped back to reality, opened his eyes, and looked down. He saw that they had unknowingly arrived at the sky above his residence. Who's that? At this moment, the sharp-eyed Bing looked down. His gaze landed on a girl in white sitting on a small bridge within the courtyard. She seemed to be having a great time at this moment. However, Bing's words stunned Lin Rei. He looked down and saw the lady on the small bridge. Lin Rei was stunned. Damn it, who is this? Why is she in my house? How did she get in? Questions popped up in Lin Rei's mind one after another, and he filtered them all out. Perhaps it was because she was being watched by too many people. The quick-witted woman hurriedly stood up and raised her head to look. When she did, her gaze froze, and a thought flashed through her mind. Her legs parted, and she leapt into the air, moving quickly in Linley's direction. How dare these emperor gods act so presumptuously in front of my master? Do you think I'm useless? At that moment, Lin Xianyuan, who was standing behind Lin Rei, saw that someone was about to launch a sneak attack. He looked at them in disdain and disappeared in a flash. What? Although she was surprised, this was not the time for her to be surprised. After all, the other party had disappeared. She released her divine sense, and the scene in the courtyard appeared in her mind. Little girl, don't be so arrogant in front of my master. Although you're a girl, but, at that moment Lin Xianyuan, who had disappeared, appeared behind the girl. He reached out and grabbed the girl's shoulder. A glint of spiritual energy entered the girl's body and sealed her cultivation. Whoosh! After doing all this, Lin Xianyuan smiled. Then, in a flash, he appeared in front of Linley. He didn't let go of his hand. When one's cultivation was sealed, it was equivalent to having no cultivation at all. He was no different from an ordinary person. Linley, you bastard, you didn't even call me when you went out. Do you know that I've been watching over your house for you for so long that I've almost gone crazy? Chapter 892. Lin Rei was stunned when he saw the girl brought back by his third brother. He looked at the girl's slightly familiar face, but he didn't dare to recognize her. Su Ziqing, the person who gave Lin Rei a headache. She was dressed as a man when she left, but now, as the saying goes, a day apart feels like 3 months. How did a man become a woman in such a short time? If Lin Rei didn't know that this wasn't planet Aqua Blue, where there was no such thing as plastic surgery, Lin Rei would probably think that way. Miss, do you know my husband? And me? Haha, are you joking or are you dressed up as a woman? Ing looked at Su Ziqing with displeasure, and he stepped forward to ask. Yes, miss, you must be confused. Ice couldn't fall behind, and Shadow chimed in. Husband? Staring at the two women who had suddenly appeared, both of whom were not the slightest bit inferior to her in terms of looks. In fact, they were even a bit more beautiful than her, but they actually called Linley husband. Instantly, a hint of sadness flashed through her heart. Maybe it was because she hid it too well, but no one noticed it. Maybe even Su Ziqing didn't understand it. You are Su Ziqing? At this moment, Linley interrupted their conversation and hurriedly asked. After repeated confirmations, Linley finally believed that the person in front of him was Su Ziqing, who had been left behind when he had left. Looking at her now, Lin Rei smiled bitterly. Damn it, I've finally untied the knot in my heart. I thought I was gay, but I didn't expect Su Ziqing to be a woman. The more he thought about it, the more Lin Rei laughed at himself. The haze in his heart was swept away. Little three, let her go. What? Master, she. Lin Xianyuan let out a cry of surprise. It's okay. Lin Rei turned around and looked at his third disciple. He gave him a reassuring smile and said, Don't worry. Don't we still have you and everyone? Besides, as he spoke, he looked at the slightly embarrassed Su Ziqing and chuckled. With her current state, do you think she still has the heart to fight back? Lin Xianyuan was in a difficult position. He looked at the two ladies beside him, wanting to ask for their opinions. Let go. Your master's ability isn't something a mere god emperor can overturn. Don't worry. That's right, let go. He's just a mere god emperor. Understanding the meaning of Lin Xuanyuan's message, the two of them hurriedly tried to dissuade him, but they were talking through telepathy, and no one else could hear them. If Su Ziqing had heard their conversation just now, she would have been depressed to death. After all, a god emperor had become a puny god emperor from their mouths. Whether it was Su Ziqing or any other god emperor who heard this, they would probably want to die. All right. With everyone's agreement, Lin Xianyuan nodded and agreed. He took a step forward and stood in front of Su Ziqing. He raised his hand and patted her on the head. Humph! Su Ziqing snorted angrily at Lin Xuanyuan's actions and didn't say anything else. Release. With one word, the energy that had sealed Su Ziqing's cultivation disappeared instantly. The sealed cultivation surged into all the meridians in her body like a tide. Phew, with her cultivation unsealed, the familiar feeling returned. Su Ziqing couldn't help but let out a long sigh. However, she had been too angry to notice that something was wrong. The people who followed Lin Rei after he was born, the two beauties who claimed to be Lin Rei's wives, and as she thought about it, her eyes fell on Lin Xianyuan, and a look of shock appeared in her eyes. Su Ziqing couldn't think of anyone else who could stop her with one move other than a god emperor. Of course, it wasn't impossible for a saint to be here, but why would a saint appear here? Moreover, with her status, which saint would dare to attack her? Moreover, she knew almost all the saints in the Talisman Sect. Therefore, the only person who could make Su Ziqing think of was a god emperor. However, a god emperor cultivator calling a god emperor cultivator master, how could she believe it? Even the others would find it hard to believe. I didn't expect you to be a woman. I'm really sorry that I thought you were a man, Brother Su. Su, your name, oh, that, the name is real. Su Ziqing quickly replied when she came back to her senses and heard Lin Rei's question. Oh, that's good. Hearing that the name was real, Linley smiled slightly. Immediately he bowed and apologized. Previously, I always mistook Miss Su for a man, it was really inappropriate. I apologize here, please don't blame me. It's okay, it's my fault. The elders in my family asked me to come here, so, oh. Lin Rei nodded to get used to it. Master, let's go in. Lin Wanyu couldn't help laughing when she saw the two of them talking endlessly. She came to Lin Rei's side and held Lin Rei's arm, acting like a spoiled child. Seeing his disciple like this, Lin Rei lovingly stroked her hair and nodded with a smile. Okay. Then, he looked at the people behind him and said, Let's go in. It's tiring to rush all the way here. As he spoke, Linley took a step forward. His arm was held by Lin Wanyu, and he led everyone to the lounge. The living room wasn't very big, but it was big enough to accommodate all the people they brought back. Lin Rei sat down at the head of the table. He didn't have the aura of a god cultivator at all. Right now, Linley was just like Guyu, slumped in his chair, looking at everyone with a tired face. Husband, are you tired? In quickly stepped forward. Seeing her husband like this, her heart ached inexplicably. She put her hands on Lin Rei's shoulders and gently massaged them. As for Bing, seeing Ying like this, he retreated. Some were so quiet that no one noticed. Of course, although Lin Rei was a little lazy, he still noticed it. However, he didn't care. Since they were back and at home, it was normal for them to familiarize themselves with each other. Moreover, Lin Rei didn't care about Bing's safety at all. It wasn't because he didn't like Bing, but because of Bing's cultivation. Unless a saint appeared, no one in the heavenly realm could stop him. The living room quieted down. Except for Ing, everyone sat down and looked at Lin Rei, waiting for the next step or preparation. Lin Rei opened his mouth. Looking at Su Ziqing, who was sitting at the head of the table, Lin Rei slowly said, Miss Su, you see. I have something to say to my disciples, you see. Go ahead, I won't disturb you. I'll just sit here and you can talk. Su Ziqing knew what Lin Rei meant, but she didn't care at all. Everyone in the hall was stunned by Su Ziqing's actions, and their faces were filled with shock. Obviously, this was something they didn't expect. However, to Lin Rei, it wasn't strange at all. After all, Lin Rei had seen Su Ziqing's roguish side before. Looking at Su Ziqing, Lin Rei's tone stiffened. He repeated, Miss Su, I want to talk to my disciples. Don't you want to leave for a while? I said you can talk. I won't disturb you. Seeing that Su Ziqing was still acting like this, Lin Rei lost his patience. It was fine before, but now this woman was asking the obvious. Lin Rei didn't like this kind of woman. His gaze turned cold and his aura became stern. Miss Su, I said that I have something important to discuss with my disciples. Since Miss Su doesn't want to leave, then, don't blame me for being rude. What do you want? Hearing Lin Rei's words, Su Ziqing was stunned. Her heart trembled, and she subconsciously wanted to retreat. Ignoring Su Ziqing, Lin Rei turned to Little Three, Lin Xianyuan, and said, Little Three, I'll leave it to you. Do as you see fit. Get her wherever you want. It's best if she doesn't appear in front of me. Yes, master. I'll do it right away. Hearing this, Lin Xianyuan, who couldn't take it anymore, nodded. Lin Rei, you bastard. How can you do this? At this moment, Su Ziqing was unwilling. What did this mean? Didn't he want to see her? Was he really that annoying? At this moment, Su Ziqing felt more wrong the more she thought about it. She couldn't help but tear up. Cry. It doesn't work on me. Lin Rei didn't care whether Su Ziqing cried or not. You, seal. Just as Su Ziqing was about to refute Lin Rei, she heard a familiar voice. Suddenly, her vision turned black and her body went limp. Su Ziqing lost consciousness. Of course, what she lost was not only her consciousness, but also her cultivation. Go, send her away. When you reach the place, refine her and wake her up. Release her seal. Tell her clearly that she can do it once or twice, but not thrice. I don't have that much patience. Looking at Little Three, Lin Rei instructed. Remember, you have to tell her exactly what I said. Go. Then, Lin Rei waved his hand and asked Little Three to take Su Ziqing away. Yes, I understand. He clasped his hands and bowed. Then, he carried Su Ziqing on his shoulder. A smile appeared on his face as he left the hall. Circulating his cultivation, he shot up into the sky and disappeared into the horizon. Phew! Finally some peace and quiet. Seeing Su Ziqing's figure disappear, Lin Rei's face revealed a smile. I thought you liked it? At this time, Ing teased. If you like it, I don't mind. Turning around, he looked at Ing with a look of displeasure. It's not hard to say this in the future. Otherwise, as he spoke, his gaze fell on her perky bottom. If I hear you say this again, be careful of your husband's punishment. You. Seeing her husband's gaze, a blush crept up Ying's cheeks. Her heart tightened and she quickly shut her mouth. That's for your nonsense. Smiling, Lin Rei turned around and his gaze turned serious. Looking at the disciples below, Lin Rei said, Boys, this time, your mission is very difficult. Within 100 years, you have to break through to the Supreme God realm. So, a smile appeared on his face as he continued, if you can complete it within the time I set, then I will consider teaching you a new cultivation technique. Let me make it clear in advance. This new cultivation technique is very, very, very powerful. It's much more powerful than the one you're practicing. Whap! As soon as Linley's words came out, Lin Wanyu rose to her feet, clasped her hands, and bowed. Master, don't worry. 100 years, in less than 100 years, your disciple will definitely break through to the divine exalt level. Yes, Master. We will wait for you. Lin Wanyu became the leader. As soon as she stood up, the others took the initiative. Little 2, Little 4, and Little 5 all stood up abnormally. Not bad. It's good that you are confident. For this reason, in order to help you make breakthroughs faster, Master has found an item for you. With this item, I trust that you will be able to make breakthroughs even faster. However, as he spoke, Linley paused slightly. But what? Master, please tell us. Seeing their master gasping for breath, Lin Wanyu and the others asked in unison. He raised his head and looked at his 4 disciples. A smile appeared on his face as he said, You also know that if you want to break through, it is impossible to break through without a little bit of danger, so, although the thing I have given you can help you break through faster, the only difference is that danger and opportunity exist together. If you want to break through, danger is unavoidable. Hearing this, Lin Wanyu and the others were speechless. The 4 of them fell into deep thought. But in the process of thinking, their hesitation became more and more resolute. After a few minutes, the 4 of them raised their heads and looked firmly into Lin Rei's eyes. At this moment, Lin Rei had an answer in his heart. At the same time, he felt proud of their decision. Tell me your choice. Lin Rei knew their choice, but he still couldn't help but want to hear it with his own ears. Plop! The 4 of them directly knelt on the ground. Their voices were very resolute. Master, don't worry. We are not flowers in a greenhouse. Just bring it on. We are brothers and sisters. We are not afraid. Ha ha ha! At this moment Lin Rei laughed. He was very happy. His originally lazy state disappeared in an instant. He sat up straight with a gratified expression. Good. As expected of my disciples, Lin Rei. Since you have decided, then, as he spoke, he took out the cultivation pagoda from the storage box and threw it towards the 4 of them. This is the cultivation pagoda. You can explore it yourself. Remember, there are dangers and opportunities. I hope you can persevere. Yes, Master. We will obey. The 4 of them cupped their hands. Lin Wanyu reached out and caught the cultivation pagoda. At this moment, the 4 of them didn't have any other thoughts. The 4 of them surrounded the pagoda and began to explore. However, at this moment, the 4 of them didn't notice that Lin Xuanyuan's eyes were filled with envy. Little 3, if you want to go, you can. The top of that thing is a sage, so, really? Master. Lin Xianyuan, who was originally a little disappointed, was instantly filled with excitement. And not bad. But before you enter the cultivation pagoda, you should first practice with me. This will be more beneficial for your growth. Chapter 893. Yes, your disciple obeys. Lin Xuanyuan's heart was filled with excitement. At the same time, he also felt the inadequacy of his current cultivation technique. Before he broke through to the ultimate God realm, it could be said that his cultivation technique was very good. Of course, that was only for him. However, after he broke through to the ultimate God realm, the inadequacies of his cultivation technique were gradually revealed. His cultivation speed also gradually decreased, so much so that the circulatory cycle had become something he was worried about. Okay. He nodded and then looked away from Lin Xianyuan to Gu Tongfeng and the other 2. Looking at them, Lin Rei thought about it again and finally made up his mind. Lu Yuan, the 3 of you can stay here. As for your matters, you can do as you see fit. As for the things you need, you can ask me for them. Elixirs, weapons, but the premise is that you have to provide the materials. After all, I don't have a lot of things. Thank you, Linray. If we need anything, we won't hesitate to ask. The three of them quickly got up and nodded respectfully. They were very respectful to Linray, the mysterious Linray. The previous scene had made the three of them realize how powerful and terrifying the person in front of them was. Okay. If that's the case. Husband. Suddenly Bing, who had left earlier, walked in with a fruit plate and a cup of tea in her hand. She walked gracefully to Lin Ray's side. Looking at the things in his wife's hand, Lin Ray felt warmth in his heart and asked, You went to get these? Haha, yes. With a soft thud, Bing put the plate in her hand on the table. Her face was as shy as a young girl, and her voice was so low that it was almost inaudible. Husband, this is some tea and some rare fruits that I've collected during this period of time. I'm sure they're delicious, so, as she spoke, she picked up the teacup and handed it to Lin Ray for him to taste. Everyone in the room could not bear to watch this scene. As the saying goes, those who show off their love die quickly. This was clearly the rhythm of making them eat dog food. For a moment, Lin Wanyu and the others understood. After seeing this scene, they obediently signaled to their junior brothers and sisters beside them. Then, they turned around and said, Master, we will go down and study first. You go ahead. Hearing this, Lin Ray was stunned. Just as he was about to speak, he realized that his 5 disciples had already disappeared without a trace. Looking at the empty space in front of him, Lin Ray couldn't help but chuckle and shake his head. Well, fellow Taoist Lin Ray, we'll be taking our leave first. Since it's my first time in the Talisman Sect, I'm truly despicable. I'll seize this opportunity to take a look around. Meanwhile, Lu Yuan stood up and cupped his hands. Seeing them leave one by one, Lin Ray stared blankly for a moment. Then, he knew what they were here for. He nodded and said, Okay then, the 3 of you can go. Take advantage of this time to familiarize yourselves. After all, you will be staying here for a while. Father, let's go. Accompany father for a walk. Hearing his daughter's words, Lu Yuan hurriedly stopped her before she could finish her words. Okay. Snowy didn't dare to refute her father's words. In the end, she could only nod and turn her head to look at Lin Ray reluctantly. Then, she followed Lu Yuan out of the hall. Husband, don't you feel that Snowy seems to be, Pa? A crisp sound was heard, echoing throughout the hall. Humph, I told you before. I didn't expect you to be so forgetful. At this moment, Lin Ray's expression was slightly angry. You. Looking at her husband, a pain came from her buttocks. Ying's fair and delicate face instantly flushed red as if she had put on makeup. A crisp laughter came from Bing's mouth. She looked at the scene with a smile on her face. This was a scene that the 3 of them had been looking forward to for a long time. However, they had been in a state of cultivation previously, so they basically didn't have time to stay together. It had been a long time since the 3 of them talked and laughed together like this. At this moment, looking at Bing's face, Ying blushed and said with bad intentions, Bing, you're still laughing. Be careful that husband doesn't. At this moment, looking at Bing's face, Ying blushed and looked at her with bad intentions. As she spoke, she couldn't help but scan Bing's body from head to toe. Feeling Ying's bad intentions, Bing was stunned. Then, she blushed and stammered nervously. She nervously put the teacup in her hand on the table. That, husband, I'll go and familiarize myself with the situation first. You can chat with Sister Ying. Saying that, without waiting for Lin Ray to speak, she flashed to the entrance of the hall. However, just as Bing was about to leave the hall, she suddenly stopped and turned around with a mischievous smile. Husband, you have to have a good chat with Sister Ying. She's really looking forward to it. After saying that, she turned around and walked out of the hall, leaving Lin Ray and Ying's range of time. This damn girl. At this moment, Ing reacted. Looking at the door where Bing left, she stomped her feet angrily and complained. This girl, it seems like she's learned bad things after not seeing her for a while. Looking at his wife leaving, Lin Ray shook his head with a wry smile. Picking up the teacup beside him, he took a sip and a look of enjoyment appeared on his face. Sigh. This kind of life, after all, doesn't belong to us now. Looking at the teacup in his hand and feeling the aura pressing on his shoulder, he sighed in his heart. Actually, husband, you can take a rest. After all, the world is boundless. As long as you do your best, it's fine. There's no need to tire yourself out. Really, husband? Feeling her husband's sigh, Ying's heart trembled. She leaned over and hugged Lin Ray's neck from behind. That's right. The world is vast and boundless. As long as you do your best, it's fine. However, suddenly she smiled bitterly. If it were an ordinary cultivator, perhaps they could think like that. It was understandable for them to live in seclusion and avoid the world. However, he was different. He could not avoid the world and not cultivate. The system would not allow him to do so. Moreover, his life would not allow him to do so. After all, the system was a wolf that was chasing him. As long as he stopped for a moment, he would fall into eternal damnation. At that time, not to mention living in seclusion, it would probably become an extravagant hope and demand for him. Sigh. Letting out a long sigh, a bitter smile appeared on his face. He placed the teacup on the table and held his wife's hand. The nervousness and urgency in his heart were instantly relieved. He relaxed and lay in Ying's arms and fell asleep. Perhaps it was because he was too tired. Perhaps it was because he was too tense during this period of time. In short, everything was no longer important. The most important thing was that he was very relaxed at this moment. He was not afraid that others would come and find trouble with him. At this moment, in the Talisman Sect's Sect Master's Hall, a woman in splendid clothes sat on the Sect Master's seat. She looked at the 3 old men and 2 young men below her with slight anger. Her heart was filled with grievances. At this moment, a man in a red robe said, "Young miss, we just received news that 2 of the large sects and clans that came down from the Holy World seem to have been destroyed. However, Xingyu from the Heavenly Court escaped out of curiosity. This matter might be too big. Therefore, I feel that there is a need to discuss this matter with you and see how we should deal with this matter." "That's right, young miss. This matter is too serious. The divine realm actually has the strength to destroy the people from the holy world. How can we use this strength?" Then, at this moment, the handsome young man at the side hurriedly agreed with the old man. This matter, looking at the 5 people below, the woman's expression was extremely solemn. She lowered her head and sank into deep thought. "Young miss, do you think we should save that bastard Xingyu? After all, they are all from the holy world. Moreover, they are from the heavenly court. I feel that there is a need to save them. What do you think?" At this moment, another black-clothed old man spoke. Sigh. Hearing the 3 people's report, the woman let out a long sigh. She looked exhausted. Lifting her head, she looked at everyone and said, "Everyone, I'll leave this matter to you. As for that strength, if possible, try to rope them in. After all, I believe that even Father would be very tempted by this strength to fight against the people from the holy world in the divine realm and kill Saint." "Okay." Hearing the woman's words, the 5 people present nodded in agreement with smiles on their faces. "Ziqing, have you gotten used to living in the Anyuan courtyard during this period of time? If you don't like it, I can arrange a bigger place for you. After all, the place you live in the holy world is much bigger than that place." "Yeah. If the sect master finds out about this, I'm afraid we won't be able to avoid being ostracized when we return." Hearing the 5 people's words, the woman was speechless. If Lin Ray was here, he would be very surprised to see the woman sitting in the seat of honor. because the person sitting in the seat of honor was none other than Su Ziqing, who was thrown 10,000 meters away by Lin Xianyuan. Looking at the 5 people's nervous faces, Su Ziqing smiled and said, "That? You don't have to worry about this matter. You should pay more attention to that matter. As for me, I'll walk around here first. When there's a situation, you can use the rune to agree to my request." Saying that, Su Ziqing got up and was about to leave. "Oh, by the way, don't go to the Anyuan courtyard when you have nothing to do. I don't want people to know that I'm from the holy world. Of course, I believe that you can do it, right?" Saying that, a horrifying face made the 5 people stand aside and nod with bitter smiles. "Okay." Everyone nodded and bowed. "Okay then. Thank you for your hard work. I'll take my leave first." After saying that, she used her cultivation and disappeared in a flash. Phew! She's finally gone. Feeling that Su Ziqing's aura was far away from the hall, the 5 people relaxed. Sigh. This young lady? Can't help it. Forget it. It's not the first time that the young lady has such a temper. But, saying that, he looked at the young man beside him and said, "Shaoan, although the young lady said that you don't need to follow her, her safety is the most important thing in the sect. So follow her. No matter what happens, you must protect the young lady. Remember, you must protect the young lady's safety. But don't appear when the young lady is not in danger. After all, the young lady doesn't want anyone to follow her." Hearing this task, the young man's face fell and he smiled bitterly. But he couldn't go against it. In the end, he could only nod and agree. "Okay, in that case, leave this task to me." "That's good." The problem was solved, and the 5 people relaxed and smiled. However, at this moment, in the guest hall of the Anyuan courtyard, the sky outside had turned dark. The bright moonlight rose into the sky, and the night wind was always cold. Phew! At this moment, in the hall, Lin Rei and Ying were still in the same state as before. The only difference was that Lin Rei had woken up. He let out a long breath and his closed eyes slowly opened. His face was indescribably relaxed, and the tiredness from before had disappeared without a trace. "You're awake." Seeing that her husband had woken up, Ying, who had been holding Lin Rei, smiled and said softly, "You really can sleep. You slept for half a day. Are you comfortable now?" Haha. Opening his eyes, Lin Rei looked at his wife who was holding him. His heart sank and he felt a little guilty. "Are you tired?" Saying that, Lin Rei quickly straightened his body from Ying's body and grabbed her waist. With a push of his arm, Ying's body left the ground, turned in the air, and finally landed in Lin Rei's arms in a perfect posture. "You worked hard just now. Since you massaged my shoulders, now is the time to repay you." Looking at Ying, Lin Rei opened his mouth and said. His hands were already on Ying's left leg. Gently, without using any strength, Linley began to massage his wife's legs. "Husband, this is not good. How can a husband massage his wife?" "Don't talk." Without waiting for Ying to finish, Lin Rei said, "Your husband doesn't have much time to accompany you. After this massage, I don't know how long I have to wait. So, don't talk, just quietly enjoy it." Instantly, hearing this, Ying sensibly shut up because she knew that this kind of time was not easy to come by. "So, kid, have you thought about it? Do you want to use the breakthrough pill to improve the realm of the formation?" At this moment, the little dragon's voice appeared in Lin Rei's mind. Yes. While massaging his wife's leg, Lin Rei conversed with the little dragon. Multitasking was a piece of cake for him. "I can't use force or battle techniques, so the only thing I can use now is my own talisman Dao and formation Dao. However, with my current realm, these 2 Daos are a little difficult to defeat a saint, but," thinking about this, Lin Rei's face suddenly became excited. "But if I can break through one of these 2 Daos and break into the saint realm, then the result will be different. With the combination of these 2 Daos, I believe that it will be easy to trap a Dao fruit saint and even kill him." Hearing this, the little dragon chuckled and nodded. "Yes, as long as I break through one of them, I can defeat a saint and complete the mission." Chapter 894. But, at this moment, the little dragon's expression turned solemn. "You know that the effects of the breakthrough pill are very precious to you now. Are you sure you want to use it here?" Xiaolong hesitated for a moment. He didn't immediately answer Xiaolong's question. Instead, he began to ponder. Thinking back to the events of the past and the punishment he would receive if he didn't complete the mission, Linley became even more certain of his previous decision. Thinking of this, Lin Rei's expression became very determined. "I've thought about it. Oh? Tell me your answer. Are you sure you want to continue with your previous decision?" Lin Rei asked. Looking at the little dragon, Lin Rei's face was filled with determination. He said, "I'm very sure. Although the breakthrough pill is very rare, but the only condition to complete the mission is to break through the array formation. If you can't break through the array formation and you can't use martial arts, battle techniques, or spells, you say. If you don't complete the mission, rather than being executed by the system, you might as well follow your own ideas. You say, yes." At this moment, hearing Lin Rei's words, the little dragon fell into silence and didn't say anything else. Also, Lin Rei will become stronger when facing a strong opponent. How can I back down when facing a problem? That's not my style, and it's not my personality. So, I've decided. I've already decided to use the breakthrough pill to break through the realm of alchemy. No one can stop me. Even you, little dragon, can't stop my decision. Please believe in me. Believe in me. I can complete my mission. Believe that I can succeed." The little dragon was speechless. Sigh. Knowing Lin Rei's determined mood and determination, the little dragon let out a long sigh and sighed emotionally. "It seems like you've really grown up and don't need me anymore." "Haha. That's not necessarily true." Lin Rei smiled guiltily at the little dragon's words. If he really didn't need the little dragon, Lin Rei couldn't do it. After all, the world was unpredictable and the situation was ever-changing. Who knew what would happen in the future? Sigh. "Alright, do as you see fit. I'll go first. Don't look for me if there's nothing." "Don't look for me even if there's something?" Seeing the system disappear, Linley was stunned. His face was blank. "Forget it." As he spoke, Lin Rei came back to his senses and looked at his wife in front of him. Suddenly, Lin Rei's eyes flashed with guilt. I won't be able to accompany you during this period of time again. Your husband has something important to prepare for this period of time, so it's okay. We're already used to it. As long as you're safe, we'll be at ease." Hearing his wife's words, Lin Rei could feel Ying's body trembling. Lin Rei knew that although Ying said that, in her heart, she really hoped that he could accompany her. As he thought about it, Lin Rei's expression became proud. He also wanted to be by his wife's side, but time didn't allow for it. He didn't have much time left. After giving birth, the system urged him. He couldn't let himself die under the system's punishment, so he had to work harder. Only then could he be by his wife's side. "I'm sorry." It's okay, husband." Hearing Lin Rei's apology, Ying's heart trembled. She smiled and said, "Just do what you need to do. You just have to remember that Bing and I will always support you no matter what. Everything else is not important." "I know." At this moment, Lin Rei didn't say anything. He just quietly enjoyed this moment. After all, there wasn't much time left. Next, he had to go into seclusion to break through the array realm. Even he himself wasn't sure how long it would take to break through, so, in the southern part of the 9 states, the Butterfly Valley was a mystic realm. It could be said that it was a treasure trove. It could be said that spiritual herbs were everywhere. However, for some reason, not long ago, the spiritual herbs began to slowly dry up. At first, it was just a little, and it didn't attract the attention of anyone. However, as time passed, the spiritual herbs began to die on a large scale. For the sects that had been looking for spiritual herbs here, they felt that something was wrong. They reported to the sects and went to the Butterfly Valley to inspect, but in the end, they didn't find anything. Could be said that no one who went in came out safely. The people who went in ended up disappearing. At first, everyone thought that it was just a coincidence. However, as more and more people went in, not a single person came out. Everyone knew that it wasn't a coincidence. Just like that, the heavenly abode that had once produced precious materials had become a man-eating, demonic land. It was a forbidden area. However, good things come with setbacks, and bad things spread far and wide. Originally, the sects had tried to keep the matter under wrap. However, for some reason, news of the Butterfly Valley spread throughout the ninth state. Groups of youths, disciples from various sects, as well as swindlers who pretended to be cultivators to make a living, came to the Butterfly Valley. They wanted to go in and see what was going on. However, unfortunately, the people who went in were the same as the people who had gone in before. They never came out. Everyone was very cautious about this. However, on this day, a handsome young man with a jade flute in his hand arrived in front of Butterfly Valley. He looked at this place that was called a forbidden area. When he saw this place, he raised his eyebrows and a bright light appeared on his face. So this is the Butterfly Valley? He murmured to himself as he looked at the entrance. That's right. This is the Butterfly Valley. A middle-aged man walked out from the side, his expression one of confirmation. Is that so? The young man didn't look back. Instead, his gaze grew more intense. He took a step forward, and a look of anticipation appeared on his face as he walked into the valley. As soon as he entered, a thick fog enveloped him. Everything was white and he couldn't see anything. The only thing he could see was the fog. You bunch of ungrateful things. My father-in-law took such good care of you when he was alive. But now you won't even let an orphan and a widow off. How can you face my father-in-law? Wang Yuro glared at the group of people in front of her with bloodshot eyes. As for Lin Rei, he looked just like he always did, staring blankly at everything. Wang Yuro, you still have the nerve to mention that dead man. Although I am indebted to him, this is the king's will. Do you think I will offend the king for a dead man? That's right. This is all permitted by the king. Besides, you are just a widow. Why are you saying so much? If it were up to me, you might as well follow me. Although I can't take you as my concubine, you can still live a good life if you follow me. At this moment, a man stared at Wang Yuro's body with a wretched expression on his face. His eyes were filled with lust, and his eyes were filled with a desire to possess her. Everyone stood up when they heard this. Only the leader of the group didn't laugh. Madam, I don't want anything. I am different from them. I just want to obtain Duke Lin's cultivation method. As long as you can give it to me, I can guarantee the safety of you and your child. What do you think? Do you think I can believe your words? Hearing the man's words, Wang Yuro's eyes revealed a playful expression. She looked at the man and said, What if I give it to you and you go back on your word? What should we do then? You really don't want to do it the hard way. Brother, don't even think about it. I want to see how hard this woman's mouth is. After saying that, a middle-aged man rubbed his hands and licked his lip. The lust in his eyes was exposed. Although you're already over 40 years old, it's undeniable that you're really beautiful. Sigh, it's just that that brat took advantage of you. You're a cabbage, but don't worry, I won't mind. After he finished speaking, the man's body flashed and appeared beside Wang Yuro. He grabbed Wang Yuro into his arms and began to harbor evil intentions. Beast! Let go of me! You beast! Woo-woo, how could a weak woman without any martial arts be a match for a man with martial arts cultivation? In an instant, the middle-aged man subdued Wang Yuro and pressed her to the ground. The group of people stood there with smiles on their faces, as if they were waiting to watch a good show. What no one noticed was that Linley, who had been staring blankly into space, suddenly revealed a strange smile. Ding dong! Congratulations to the host for breaking free from the 100 reincarnations environment. However, you have not truly broken free. As long as you go through 100 reincarnations, then the 100 reincarnations illusion will naturally be broken. Oh, you mean this is my first reincarnation? I still have to go through 99 reincarnations within the 100 reincarnations before I can break free from the 100 reincarnations? Yes. As long as you can persevere and complete the 100 reincarnations, then the host's future will be limitless. Lin Rei, who was originally thinking, suddenly woke up from the system in his mind and unsealed Lin Rei's memories. Lin Rei recovered his memories outside of the 100 reincarnations. Lin Rei knew where he was now. Ah, you beast! Let go of me! At this moment, Lin Rei, who was talking to the little dragon, suddenly heard a familiar voice from his heart and woke up. When he saw the scene in front of him, Lin Rei was completely enraged. Although this was the 100 reincarnations environment and he knew that everything in front of him was fake, Lin Rei's feelings were real. When he saw his mother being pressed to the ground by a man who was about to rape her, the hostility in his heart was directly awakened. Bastard, bastard! You all deserve to die. You all deserve to die. Lin Rei's angry roar broke the original scene. After hearing Lin Rei's shout, everyone present, including Wang Yuro, turned their attention to Lin Rei. Yo, isn't this the young master who was an idiot for more than 10 years? How come he's fine now? It's a pity that it's too late. But just in time, you can see how your mother was conquered by me. Wahaha! At this moment, after seeing Lin Rei's angry expression, the middle-aged man who was riding on Wang Yuro's body teased, while looking at Lin Rei while tearing Wang Yuro's clothes. At this moment, Wang Yuro had already forgotten to resist. Seeing that her son was fine, Wang Yuro's entire face was filled with tears. Run, run. Rei, run. When Wang Yuro came to her senses, she saw that her son had returned to normal. She also saw that the people around her were glaring at her son. Wang Yuro couldn't help but feel nervous. Thinking of her son's consolation, Wang Yuro screamed at the top of her lungs at Linley. As for the people who saw this, some of them were moved to tears, while others were looking at Linley with killing intent. Run? Do you think he can run away? You'd better worry about yourself. Hearing Wang Yuyan's words, the middle-aged man's hands slapped towards Wang Yuyan's face. Wang Yuro seemed to have accepted her fate and closed her eyes, waiting for the slap to land. But after waiting for a long time, she didn't feel any pain. She opened her eyes and saw an unbelievable scene. She saw a hand grabbing the middle-aged man's arm and stopping him in midair. Humph, I've never caused trouble, but I'm not someone who's afraid of trouble either. Those who touch my reverse scale are usually the ones who die the most miserably. It turned out that when the middle-aged man was about to hit Wang Yuro, Lin Rei directly stepped beside the middle-aged man and grabbed the hand that was about to hit his mother. Bang! Lin Rei's other hand directly hit the middle-aged man's head. With just one punch, no matter if it was brain matter or blood, all of it splashed onto Wang Yuro's body. Mother, I'm sorry, I've made you suffer. After Lin Rei killed the middle-aged man, he directly threw the man's body to the side. Then, he took out a set of women's clothes and gave it to Wang Yuro. Then, he set up a barrier to help Wang Yuro change her clothes. Humph, you all deserve to die. How dare you treat my mother like this? Lin Rei walked out of the barrier and looked at the crowd. Without saying anything, he directly summoned the red flame tiger that was already at the peak of the gold core stage. What is this thing? Originally, the crowd was already shocked when they saw the rumored silly young master. But now there was an additional demonic beast that looked like a wolf and a tiger. Red flame tiger, kill them for me. I want all of them to die, including the entire imperial capital. I want the entire imperial capital to pay the price for the humiliation my mother suffered just now. A scene that the young man was familiar with appeared. In it, he became the grandson of a duke. But his voice was too sad. Looking at this scene, the young man was stunned and frowned. Who am I? I am Lin Ray. I am Lin Ray who wants to reach the peak of the Tao. Why? No, I am not Lin Ray. At this time, the young man was anxious and in the fog. He was crazily shouting at the stone in front of him. No, I am not Lin Ray. I am Sakura. Yes, I am Sakura, Lin Ray's avatar. This time, I am here to help the main body find two kinds of Tao. His clear mind was clear. In an instant, the scene of his mother being persecuted by the gods in front of him blurred and finally disappeared completely. Looking at the disappearing scene in front of him, Sakura was stunned. Cold sweat flowed down his cheek. Huff, damn it, I didn't expect to meet my inner demon here. But why is it like this? The scene just now was too real. Little dragon, even the system's little dragon appeared. This made Sakura the most puzzled. Chapter 895. The Butterfly Valley that was originally as tranquil as a lake was no longer as tranquil as before due to the fact that there were cultivators who never returned. More and more cultivators began to arrive at the Butterfly Valley. Of course, Sakura was one of them. However, the instant he entered the Butterfly Valley, it was as if he was possessed by an inner demon. However, fortunately, as an incarnation, he was not worried about the inner demon at all. That was because he knew that it was not his inner demon. It was the inner demon of the main body, Lin Ray. When he recalled the illusory realm he entered earlier, Sakura started to worry about Lin Ray. If he was able to comprehend the inner demon, then what about the main body? As the source of the inner demon, what should he do? At that moment, Sakura wanted to return and inform the main body. However, when he recalled the bizarre incident that happened in the Butterfly Valley, his kind heart started to surge. There should be something extraordinary in the Butterfly Valley. Since we're already here, it won't matter if we wait a little longer. Furthermore, after saying that, Sakura had a calm expression. Furthermore, Lin Ray's main body is so powerful. I believe that he should be able to withstand an inner demon. Although he had a calm expression when he said those words, he was feeling weak in his heart. Although he knew that the main body was very powerful, he was uncertain about something like an inner demon. Suddenly, a chilly wind blew from the depths of the Butterfly Valley. It was an intense and cold wind. It was as if blades were slashing across his face. A feeling of pain entered Sakura's heart. Holy shit! What is this thing? Feeling the chilly wind blowing past him, Sakura was extremely shocked. He knew his own body very well. However, what about now? Merely a chilly wind was able to make him feel this way. Although his body was not as strong as Lin Ray's, it was impossible for an ordinary god emperor to leave a mark on his body. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that the Butterfly Valley was mystical. Regarding this, Sakura, who was even more curious, decisively gave up on the idea of returning. Raising his head and looking forward, his eyes were filled with firmness and determination. A trace of a smile flashed across the corner of Sakura's mouth, and a bright light flashed through his pupils. Let me see what you are. Let me see exactly what you are. You're actually capable of making others unable to return. As soon as he finished speaking, a jade flute appeared in his hand. An astonishing sword aura revolved around Sakura the instant he held the jade flute, without the slightest bit of disorder or leakage. At this moment, if there was an expert of the sword Tao here, seeing the sword chi around Sakra's body, he would probably be so shocked that his jaw would drop. To be able to control the sword chi around his body without leaking any of it, this level was something that ordinary experts of the way of the sword could not achieve. He lifted his foot and slowly walked forward. His eyes were filled with vigilance as he looked around. After what happened just now, Sakra didn't dare to be presumptuous at all. Just a single wind transformation was enough to make him feel pain, and this was just the beginning. What happened next? No one could say for sure what would happen the deeper they went. He let out a long breath. His heart was in his throat, and his body was tense as he slowly walked towards the depths of Butterfly Valley. His speed was as slow as a snail's. However, at the entrance of Butterfly Valley, not long after Sakra entered Butterfly Valley, the originally deserted Butterfly Valley gradually became more and more crowded. Of course, it was only a slight increase. Although people came, they didn't intend to enter the valley. Every one of them stood at the entrance of the valley. Their eyes were locked on the mist-filled area in the valley. Their faces were solemn, and they were frightened, not daring to be presumptuous. People. More and more people came. Not to mention 1,000, there were at least 300 or 400 people. However, although there were many people, none of them wanted to enter and explore. Do you want to go in? Wealth comes from danger, but the danger inside is beyond our imagination. What a pity, yeah. Although wealth comes from danger, there were quite a few people who entered before, but what happened in the end? In the end, none of them came out. Tisk, if they didn't come out, it means that they didn't have the ability. This time, I heard that several major sects have sent people here. Moreover, the people who came were all monarch gods. Maybe this time, the strange change in Butterfly Valley can be completely solved. Hearing this, the 100 people present were stunned. Their faces were filled with shock. They all yearned to join the major sects, but they didn't have the talent for cultivation, so, regarding those major sects, everyone present could only watch from afar and not go forward. Are you sure? Your major sects will really come? Yeah, why would those major sects take a fancy to a small place like Butterfly Valley? You're not lying to us, are you? The person who spoke before was stunned by everyone's reaction. Then, he snorted coldly. What do you know? My wife's younger brother is an outer disciple of one of the major sections. I heard that this time, the major sects have sent out many people, and all of them are elites. This is where they came from. This strange place, Butterfly Valley, has already attracted the attention of several major sects, so, just watch. It won't be long before he comes. At that time, you'll know whether I'm right or not. Hearing the determined tone of the person who spoke, and his face was filled with confidence, everyone started to believe him. However, they only believed him a little now. Before the disciples of the major sects arrived, they wouldn't completely believe him. I'd like to see if those major sects will really come to this small place, Butterfly Valley, as you said. Talisman Sect, Random Courtyard. At this moment, Lin Ray walked out of the living room with a smile on his face. However, his brows were knitted together. His expression was very contradictory and puzzling. Sigh. He stood in the middle of the courtyard and raised his head to look at the beautiful sunset. A sense of urgency rose in his heart. Time is fleeting. It's like a white steed flitting past a crack. Time always passes especially quickly for me. As for me, I'm also racing against time. I really don't know when it will end. When you achieve your Tao, you'll naturally transcend this world. Time, to you at that time, it'll be nothing more than a number. A sudden voice stunned Lin Ray. The person who spoke was none other than the system. It had been a long time since the system appeared. After hearing the system's words, Lin Ray was stunned and smiled bitterly. You make it sound so easy. To transcend time. I'm afraid that even the great god Pangu, who created the world, couldn't do it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been schemed to death by the Tao. Moreover, the extreme realm of Tao. I always feel that there's a realm above Hongmeng. Sigh. He let out a long sigh and was filled with helplessness. The extreme realm of Tao is something that everyone yearns for. Let's hope that I can achieve eternity one day. You will. I believe in you. I also believe in the little dragon and I. With the help of the system, achieving the extreme realm of Tao is only a matter of time. Moreover, as the system spoke, it suddenly paused and continued. Aren't there 2 Taos that have been stripped? Isn't this a good opportunity? Lin Rei was puzzled. He didn't understand what the system meant. Damn you. Looks like you really have to wait until you reach the Holy Realm and go to the system's library to think about knowledge. Seeing the puzzled look on Lin Rei's face, the system sighed in disbelief. Lin Rei was speechless. He didn't say anything. What else could he say at this time? After all, the system was right. Moreover, the little dragon had said the same thing before. Of course, if Lin Rei hadn't been able to understand it himself, he would have gone back long ago. In this short period of time, he had also realized his own shortcomings. So, just say it. Looking at Lin Rei, the system said, 2 great Taos. Although they are only 2 out of the 3,000, if you can make good use of them, they will be very useful. Moreover, you can integrate these 2 Taos into your tone or cultivation method. And how? How is this possible? Without waiting for the system to finish speaking, Lin Rei exclaimed. His face was full of disbelief. Why is it not possible? Although they are the origin of 2 different worlds, but the cultivation method that you cultivate is an existence that transcends everything. Moreover, don't forget that you are not under the protection of the great Tao. It seems so. Hearing the system's words, Lin Rei seemed to have realized something. However, that feeling disappeared in an instant. Regarding this, Lin Rei, who wanted to capture that feeling, could only sigh in the end. Of course. Looking at Lin Rei, the system continued, with your current strength and the urgency of time, the only thing you can do now is to devour one origin. Remember, it's devouring and not giving it away like an idiot. If you do that, I'm afraid you will end up like Pangu and be schemed against by the great Tao. When that happens, you won't even have a corpse left and will be consigned to eternal damnation. Don't blame me for not reminding you. Upon hearing the system's words, Lin Rei was taken aback and his face turned cold. But Lin Rei remembered everything that the system said very clearly. He knew that the system was doing this for his sake. Of course, Lin Rei didn't know if there were other reasons, nor did he want to know. After all, they had been together for 3,000 to 4,000 years. Since they had become friends, there was no need to mind so much. At this thought, Lin Rei curled his lips and smiled. All right, I remember what you said. When the time comes, I will absorb it with the devouring heaven spell. You don't have any objections, right? No. That's great. After receiving the system's affirmation, Lin Rei felt much more relaxed. Oh right. Next, I'm going to go into seclusion. You've been stagnant in the field of formations for such a long time. It's time for you to improve. After all, it's not that great to be in the venerable stage all the time, isn't it? Ugh. You know. Seeing that the system directly said what he wanted to say, Lin Rei smiled awkwardly and didn't say anything else. Of course. But, as if thinking of something, the system said, this mirror-breaking pill can only be used once in a lifetime. Originally, I planned to use it when you break through your cultivation. When that time comes, success will follow naturally and you will be able to break through to the saint stage effortlessly. But, since you're in a hurry, use it first. After all, there are better things waiting for you. I hope so. Hearing the system's words, Lin Rei chuckled and didn't think much of it. then go into seclusion. If there's anything, I'll do it. After saying that, the system disappeared without waiting for Lin Ray to finish his sentence. Haha, still the same old. After waiting for a long time, seeing that the system didn't say anything, Lin Ray chuckled and didn't say anything else. Coming back to his senses, Lin Ray looked at the setting sun and then at the hall behind him. A smile appeared on his face. Then, with a thought, he locked onto his room and his figure became blurry. However, right at this moment, Linley's room was originally empty. But right at this moment, space began to twist, and a humanoid figure appeared. Whoosh, after a while, the human-like figure completely appeared. Lin Ray, who had disappeared in the front yard, appeared in his room. Opening his eyes, he looked at the familiar scene and smiled. Then, he went to his bed and sat cross-legged. Before swallowing the mirror-breaking pill, he had to circulate his cultivation to perfection. Only then could he eat the pill with peace of mind. 6 hours passed. Linley once again opened his eyes. A flash of light flashed past his eyes, then disappeared without a trace. At this moment, Linley's eyes were especially bright, like a cluster of stars. It's time to break through. After saying that, a pill the size of a longan appeared. A pill fragrance instantly filled the room. Looking at the pill, Lin Ray's heart trembled. Then, he closed his eyes and raised his hand, stuffing the pill into his mouth. With a gulp, the pill was roughly stuffed into Lin Ray's mouth. He didn't have the mood to taste it. Boom! Suddenly, a mysterious power appeared and engulfed his entire body. Then, it rushed towards his Niwan palace and the top of his head. At this moment, the entire room quieted down. With regards to breaking through, Lin Ray was determined to succeed this time. However, what Lin Ray didn't know was that while he was in seclusion, his clone, Sakura, who was millions of miles away, was in trouble. Inside the Butterfly Valley, after Sakura decided to move forward quickly, he had no intention of stopping. But who knew that after a long period of time, the final result was that he would appear at the place where he entered from. In order to verify his thoughts, Sakura tried a few more times. The final result was the same. In the end, Sakura came to an answer. Ghost hitting wall. Of course, it wasn't the real ghost hitting wall. It was just a metaphor, similar to ghost hitting wall. However, outside Butterfly Valley, it wasn't like before. At this moment, it could be said to be a gathering of heroes. Moreover, more than half of them weren't from the god realm. If Sakura was here, he would definitely think that these people who thought too highly of themselves weren't from the god realm. They were all cultivators from the holy world. How is it? Everyone, guess which of the two Daos is in Butterfly Valley? At this moment, a young man spoke. However, when he spoke, his gaze never left the entrance. Do you still need to say it? Suddenly, a rough voice sounded out and broke the silence. Space and slaughter. Since I can't sense space here, then it must be the Tao of slaughter. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.